All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the August 27th meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen. We started off tonight at 5:30 at a residence on Abijah Bridge.
166 Shady Hill.
Shady Hill Road. We presented the Boston Post cane to Mr. Albert Reed. He is the oldest known citizen in town at the age of 98. So it's quite an honor to give that to him. His brother and other friends were there, and it was a grand old time. So we will start the meeting at 6:30 with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. If you have comment about Bogue Road, we have a line item for that. So any other public comment or any other ideas you want to address? Frank?
State his name.
My name?
I did. It's been a few weeks. I was going to stop by and see if you were
You
coming.
should state his name for the minute taker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I
Yeah.
will.
Well,
I don't know if I should fix this or not. But, Frank Campana. My comment for the selectman, one selectman that will bear with me, goes back to, excuse me, to the end of June. I asked for and I requested a half-year budget printout, which I'm sure you folks received at the same, well, not the same time. Mine was 7/6 was when it was printed. So I went through the minutes of July. There were only 3 sets of minutes, and I guess I was half surprised and not too surprised that I didn't see any mention in the minutes of any type of discussion of the budget halfway through the year. Now, there may have been, I know a lot of times, you know, in reports, but again, there was nothing on record. So that led me to believe that things are pretty good, even though you got a default budget. But keeping in mind your default budget, at least one line, this is a printout of January 3rd of 2018. Keeping in mind that your default budget has some monies added back into it. The primary example is insurances. Insurances for this year decreased by about $47,000, and you folks added that back in to the default budget. And the caveat to that is that it's a contract. So regardless of the definition of the default budget, you can and you should have taken that money out of the default budget. So as I say, things seem to be running pretty smoothly, but they're running smoothly because you're taxing the taxpayers more than what they need to spend. And I'm glad all these people here can hear that. The numbers are here. Thank you. Thank you.
what's that?
Bogue Road?
Bogue Road, we have a line item for that you guys are going to be speaking on. Yep. Any other public comment not regarding Bogue Road? No? Okay, we'll move on.
Jean's here. Janine's here.
Yep. So we have some department head committee items. First, we'd like to do an appointment to Parks and Recs, and that would be Janine. I know she's out there. Here she comes. Sorry, poke her head around.
Ricky, that's.
Hi there.
Hi.
Again. Jeannie is going for a full member seat at the Parks and Recreation Committee. Why?
So first of all, I really like to volunteer. I've been with the Cub Scouts as an assistant den leader for, this will be my 5th year. And secondly, I really think giving back to the community is very, very important, being involved. And lastly, Parks and Recs is fun. Like, it's about fun and parks and the lake and the fields and the sports and the activities and organizing all that stuff. And it's a great group of people. I've been to a few meetings, and I like all the people on the board.
Awesome.
So I want to help.
There you go.
They need it.
Do you know it's 3 years?
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not going anywhere. Still
Okay.
building my house. Long-term commitment.
Anybody else have any other questions? Entertain a motion?
Make a motion that we appoint Janine, I can't.
Lynch, it's okay.
Lynch, yeah.
It's a tough one.
I want to make sure it was spelled right. For a 3-year appointment to Parks and Rec.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
Welcome
so
aboard.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll recognize Chief Sean Kelly for awarding bids for cameras, a rug, and the back door at the safety complex.
No, not quite.
Maybe. Okay, so
1/3.
that
We're
changed.
We're tabling the cameras. We'll get that out for technical review.
Okay.
And then the rugs, we haven't got the estimates back from the vendors yet. The last item is at the door on the back of the public safety building on the Sallyport side.
So we got one.
We do have one item.
Okay.
What this was, if you'll recall, the back door has, the frame of the back door has rotted away at the bottom. So now the entire door frame and door has sunk about 1.5 inches and is no longer functional. So we had, we asked for companies to take a look at it and give us some bids. 3 of them were not responsive. The 4th one, Dykens Construction of Hudson, Dykens Carpentry of Hudson, will do that work for $1,100, with the caveat that because of the steel frame and their inability to get behind it to see the condition of any wood framing behind it, that might need replacement. It may go beyond that. So I'm asking you for the $1,100 to replace that door.
Yeah, the quote.
I do. Did you just have them come out, or did they not reply? That's the other 3. They didn't reply.
I don't know. Okay.
He runs into the same problem I did. I got nowhere to reply either.
Anybody have any questions on it?
Yeah, I got a question. It's $1,100, but should we add a little more in case there is rot on that,
Up to, so,
or just wait for the surprise?
And unknown. It's yeah. The bottom of that door is rotted off considerably, so the unknown what's behind on the other side. Board's feelings on that?
Well, I'd wait and see if they bill us out what the bill will be on that and bill that out separately.
The only thing I would
It's hard
ask
to-
is that
it's
we
hard
get
to add anything in there without an unknown source.
Right. Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Ken, 1 second.
Yep.
I'd have to contact him to make sure he's got a certificate of insurance.
Okay.
So I can do that.
Pending. Yeah,
Pending,
we'll
okay.
we'll make it pending. Entertain the motion.
I'll make a motion that we award repair bid for the replacement of the rear door of the Sallyport at the safety complex on the police side to Dykens Carpentry LLC of 8 Richmond Road in Hudson, New Hampshire for the estimated total
With the money coming from, it's a government
Yeah.
building.
Government building fund with the caveat of the,
And with the caveat
Insurance.
that they have, resupply us with a proof of insurance, and that this money will be coming out of the government, building funds.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No?
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have purchase cable equipment for the middle school. Oh, Dick, you made it in. I saw you out there earlier.
Crowd to get through.
Yeah.
I had sent the board, hopefully the board received the information I emailed to you. I wanted to try and expedite this so the good folks from Rogue Road won't have to wait too long to do their thing. Basically, a piece of equipment at the middle school is not working. It's old, and we need to replace it. It's very similar to the equipment we have in the cabinets, amplifier mixer. We have a quote from the vendor for $577, and the balance in the account is $35,770.
Now, Dick, I got a question. Who is, where is the line drawn in the sand as far as the school versus the town equipment?
Yeah, the town is responsible for all broadcasting for Channel 17 and Channel 6.
Okay, so this is gonna do it for that, not so much for the stage.
No, not responsible for any equipment they want to use.
Okay, this is just to get it to the cable side.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. I'll move that we award the bid of $577 to buy a 12-channel rack mount audio mixer for the cable committee from Access AV out of Concord to come from the cable.
Equipment
Equipment
capital
fund?
reserve fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We gotta sign that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can make it way that way.
Okay.
Benji's on.
Recognize Benji Knapp for a DPW update.
How's everybody doing?
Happy to be here.
I looked at the crowd, I maybe should have borrowed a vest from Chief Kelly, but. So, I won't keep you guys waiting, I just wanna inform you guys real quick while I'm thinking of it, I think Beth's already done that. We're gonna have to have a, public hearing, raise the fees for demolition, because our costs went up, so. Right now, we're not getting what we're, the amount that we're sending out, so, as far as money goes. So, we're working on that, and I just wanted to tell you guys that's coming up the pike.
Is that something that they change yearly, or is that something that they change as they get?
Well, it was
different?
yearly, so what happened was for years and years and years and years and years, we went to ERCO. And, they have more and more consistently found fault with our demolition. So, too much sheet rock, too much PT. So we had a set price, $74 a ton, unless it was contaminated, which means too much sheet rock, too much of something. So we kept very close track on a couple loads, and we were nowhere near,
What they
according
said.
to our numbers. But the guy in the loader's the guy that makes the call. So the old numbers were budgeted around, I'm assuming, I'm assuming we're budgeted around that number. And the first 4 loads this year we sent to ERCO. We said we're supposed to be paying 74. One was 89, 2 were 101, and one was 111 a ton. So it's a little bit different. So we switched vendors, and I wanted to make sure we were happy with them before I came and, upset the apple cart. So we seem to be, we're going to Naughton Sons up in Bradford. Trucking's about $3 a ton cheaper. We don't get charged by the ton, but on average, and they're a set price no matter what's in the trailer. So.
Makes life easy.
And ERCO was supposed to go up to 79 this year anyway, and we're paying 80, so it's only $1 a ton more, and we're actually saving. So we're
Yeah, in the
really
long run, almost
really
back to where we were
$2 on the good,
Yeah.
but we're still not.
at that 74
right,
change,
so.
right? Okay.
So that said, I don't keep everybody waiting. I know everybody wants to get up here and say their piece. I would like to just take a quick minute to introduce myself. I'm Benjamin Knapp. I'm the new Public Works Director as of 3 years ago. I've worked for the town of Weare since August of 2001, so I know the town very well. I did take a short stint as a road agent in Deering, but I came back. I'm very familiar with the town, what we've done on the town roads, because I was a foreman and basically the lead equipment operator most of that time. I started at the transfer station, worked my way up, so exception of head mechanic. I think I've held every position there. We get so how the road works as far as the money has nothing to do with the operating budget. It's the road reconstruction article that you vote on every year. That's all the money that we get to work on the roads, and that's paving, purchase of culverts, crushing gravel, renting in equipment that we might need, hiring any outside services that we might need. In the last couple of years, we've asked for $480,000 from you folks, and that's what we got. That 480 covers the entire town, everything that we do on the roads. Out of that 480, or any amount that you vote on, the state DOT that has a New Hampshire block grant aid, and it's a formula that the state derived, so much per person and so much per mile of town maintained road. And so last year we got, I think, 280,000. So out of the 480, us as taxpayers, because I do live in town, I'm a taxpayer also, we only had to cough up 200 of that 480. Unfortunately, that just isn't enough to keep us ahead on the roads. For example, the paving contractor that we have been using is the same paving contractor that's been doing work for Hollis for the last few years. He told me they did somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000 to $800,000 worth of paving, just paving. Never mind everything else. So it takes money to fix the roads, and I just have the 480 to work with. The squeakiest wheel we've had probably in the last 5 to 8 years has been Mountain Road and Mountain School Road. The previous Public Works Director that I worked very close with because I was his foreman had that planned out as a 3-year plan as far as I remember. However, we got an additional funding from various avenues. The state found money last year, so well, the year before, and I rolled it over into last year. So we got 237,000 in addition to the 480. I was able to do that entire project in 2 years on top of top coating Perkins Pond Road. So that gave that's the only way, unless you overload road, as you all know, to get to Mountain Road, and all of your developments off Mountain Road is Perkins Pond, Mountain, and Mountain School. And you simply couldn't dodge the holes on Mountain Road. You'd run into somebody, so much traffic up there. So I chose to do the heavier traveled roads first. Next year I was going to do Lowell Road. That makes Old Francistown, Lowell, Mountain Road, Mountain School all new. And then hopefully we can branch off and do some other roads. Nothing to do with this issue that we've had this last couple of weeks. We have been taking a survey of all the roads in town, all the paved roads. I just got done with that Friday. We don't have everything composed yet of the information, just the mileage and how myself would rate the road. So I don't have any information on that yet to give any of you, but we were gonna see how much money it would take to bring any road that could be fixed with a shim and overlay back up to snuff. But I think you're looking at millions of dollars. I don't think it's gonna be a realistic number, but we're gonna try to get that number. So I put together some numbers, what it would take, because I also saw that proposed plan to have Mountain Road done by the previous Public Works Director, even though my name's on it. The only reason it's on the letterhead is because when I started, letterheads just got switched over, as they should. So his fix was to shim and overlay that, and it's just too far gone for that. Even the pavers wouldn't be excited to do that. It needs to be reclaimed and completely fixed. It just has to be. So, you know, nobody likes their tax money spent, but especially foolishly. So I got some numbers, and that's today's numbers. Liquid asphalt has went up drastically this year, so as Friday, what I would propose to do would be reclaim that road back up, put 4 inches of crushed stone on it and reclaim it again. That would give you about 4 inches, well, it'll give you about a foot of real good base with stone mixed in. A lot of time we build the road right up like we did the first portion of Mountain Road, but I'm afraid some of you guys that live downhill, we'd really mess with your driveways, and that would just be a ton of material. I think it'd be a happy medium. So to reclaim it and then back up and mix the stone in would be about $18,720. The stone would be about $30,000. So that's just for the service of doing it and purchasing the material. We would truck it. Pavement at today's rate takes about 775 tons per 1 mile of road per 1 inches thick. You take that times our bid price this year, that's right at $47,200 per mile per 1 inch. You have to have 3 inches of pavement. So your pavement would be right at $182,000 just for the pavement. The shoulder gravel is kind of insignificant, but it's another $2,200. And I didn't have time to measure all the guardrails and get prices for that. They don't all need to be fixed, but the posts need to be fixed and stuff. And you got a couple big culverts that I didn't have time to get pricing for. So the overall cost of that would be about $233,000 to fix that road, which is, because your road's 6,500 feet long, it's much over a mile, 6,486, I think. But so that would be the cost of the road, and that's why it hasn't been done yet. It's not just one of them, well, we got 20 grand left, let's go fix the Bogue Road. It's a significant project that we need the money for. So doesn't mean don't want to. I don't like plowing it either. I was the guy that plowed it up until the day after Christmas for you guys last year because I was short of help, so I did that route. One of you brought me cookies, so thank you on Christmas. And I see a letter that circulated, and I don't want this. I just would like to point out a couple things that was a little inaccurate. I'm not poking sticks or anything, but I never promised anybody that it would be done. I know the condition of it, and I agree with all of you that it's in terrible shape. If you can believe it, it's probably not the worst road in town, but it's right up there in the top 5 or 6. The true reason is just don't have enough money. It says the road in Airpring does not have enough houses to warrant any funding ever. That's not true. I don't really go by how many houses there is. It's kind of squeaky wheel, I guess, but you try to get the most traveled roads done first, because what good's your road fixed if the road that leads to it pounds the front end out of your car? So, especially something like Mountain Road, there was no avoiding those potholes on that road. I know Bogue Road's terrible, but there's not, if you move over a pothole, there's a lesser chance of getting a head-on accident as there was on Mountain Road. So, that's why we did that one first. This work that we've been doing, trying to get funding, it says in their frustration, lack, refusal to get funding. The town is trying to get a bond from the state. The bond, if we did ask for one, would be from the taxpayers. It has nothing to do with the state. So if we ask for one, it's going to be the taxpayers over and above the $480,000. I actually asked them for $500 this year and try to creep it up a little. So I guess with that said, I'll let everyone come up if you have any questions. My plan for next year was to do Lowell Road, and then hadn't got to my 5-year plan yet. I know that I've been asked about it, but we've been trying to wait on this survey that we've been trying to get done all summer that we just got done Friday. And there's pavement preservation or any road preservation is just as important as road reconstruction also. This town has always fixed a road and left it until it gone to pot again. So this year I'm going to do a little chip coating on Hodgson Road. It's a road that we put a lot of money into. It's still in very good shape. Hopefully it gives it another 8 to 10 years. It's preservation, much cheaper than tearing it up again in 20 years. We really need to set aside a little money to keep some of our good roads good. This is New England. We get the worst frost and thaw action of anywhere in the country. So, yes, sir.
Shoulders on Mountain Road.
They're coming.
Okay.
You cannot believe how hard it is to find a shoulder machine.
Granite.
You can't believe how hard it, yeah, right, yes, we're renting. We're gonna rent one.
So they're coming.
John Neville, I believe, I'm going to rent his. I tried last year, for the first section, just, they're very hard to find. I found him. Yes.
So reiterate, are you saying you're gonna try to do this road next year, or? is
No,
this-
I'm gonna do Lowell Road next year, and then see where this survey goes, and we'd like to allocate some money to put into some of the
So
subdivisions.
you're saying at this point, there's no plan for Bogue Road for funding?
I guess, yes. I don't have, I've been asked for a 5-year plan, I haven't, because it ran out last year with Mountain Road, or Mountain School technically, or this year, I guess, right? And I haven't got another one put together.
What do you think that road's gonna look like in 5 more years?
Well, I hope to have it done before 5 years, yeah. Believe me, I mean, it takes way more salt to melt the snow off a rough road. It's hard on my trucks, nobody likes a rough road. I took Jack for a ride up there, and he couldn't believe how bad it was. We also visited, because I'd got a call on Wallingford Terrace. Some of that road's not even there. I don't know how I'm gonna plow it this year. But again, it was built out of green clay in the 80s. There's no base under that. And developers came in without any overseeing and took D8s and paved them. And now we're all stuck with them. I got miles and miles and miles of them. Pine Hill, High Rock, they're Edelane, they're all in the same, if not worse condition as Bogue Road, and it's not something that I'm happy about either. I get not just calls from you guys, I get them from every other subdivision that's in that type of condition, people feeling the same way. We maintain them best we can as far as patching actual potholes, which is hole in the pavement, not the whoop-de-doos, and plowing and salting them, and that's, try to send a mower around every couple of years. I only get a mower enough to do about 1/3 of the town each year, so you won't see us for every other year, so.
So Benji, I have a question for you.
If you,
Actually,
Ricky,
Yeah.
make him go.
Anybody that wants to speak to Director Knapp, please just come up to the microphone and identify yourself as an taker.
thank you. I have no issue with the road agent at all. He's doing the best that he can, given the little resources that he has. The last time I was here, I did ask for you to research when the last time Bogue Road was paved by the town and compare that to the last time that River Road was done. Did anybody do that? So the last time I was here was public comment, and I started with that question, knowing that it was public comment you couldn't answer. So I gave you 2 weeks to find that out, and nobody did. So
Well-
it's not really important.
Well, I can address that I don't believe that the town of Weare's ever paved that road. That
Well,
originally was
right.
put in back in the 80s, and that's the way it is today. So it's, I know that it hasn't
So my
been.
taxpayer money has not gone for my infrastructure of my road. But how many times has it gone to River Road because Mount Williams trucks use that all the time and damage it all the time? I'm just curious.
Well, I don't think the lower half, I'm not sure, Ben might be able to answer that. I'm not sure the lower half's ever been done by the,
Well,
for a
fortunately,
while.
my memory ain't what it ought to be. And maybe Highway doesn't keep the best records. I looked for that answer, actually. I remember working up there my second year here,
At Bogue.
all summer, on the mountain. We ditched every inch of every road up there, and then we overlaid Mountain. I don't remember if we went out Bogue or not. Because we did overlay Mountain and Mountain School. But I don't know if we did.
What
Bogue.
about
Probably
little
not.
patches?
Patches?
Yeah, you've
Okay,
done little
okay.
where the road
I know
comes
that
up.
triangle where a plow truck fell through, we did, because I
Yes.
boxed that out with the excavator, and we had a small contractor come in.
What about River Road?
Well, we did the north end, and then we've, this year we put a 1.5 inch overlay on about 6,000 feet of it. I did the same thing on Reservoir Drive this year. I would consider my 3-4 most traveled roads in town, River, Reservoir, Mountain, maybe Gould. So, well, they get a lot of traffic, they beat the pavement up a little worse, heavier traffic. But, I don't remember if we paved, like I said, I think it was just patches on Bold Road.
So, again, River Road's been paved more than Bogue Road in 20 years. By my money, I've been here for 20 years. I'm sure these people have been here longer than that.
34 years.
So, there's an issue there. How are you going to keep track and maintain our infrastructure if we keep putting in new developments and they're paved developments? We're always gonna be left behind if you keep allowing that to happen. Some things, you guys have gotta figure something out. I don't know if it's here, I don't know if it's at the planning commission, I don't know where it is. But you can't keep putting in developments and housing if you can't keep track and keep up with what you currently have. Big issue.
Right.
Right?
My suggestion was for tonight, now I understand, Benji, that you have a survey done, now is it all the roads in town
All
that
the
the
paved
survey?
roads right at the moment.
All paved,
I haven't got to the dirt one yet.
okay. So will the subdivisions need to be paved? All the subdivisions that
Some
have
of
been
them,
put in?
anything put in prior to about 2000.
So new ones coming in are going to require it.
Right,
eventually,
Yeah.
20 years from now.
okay.
Well, 30
They're put in much
now.
better, right? I mean, they're put in much better because we have the new ones, because we have engineers and people like us that might care more than they did. I don't know what the deal was, but it was just different rules back then, you know?
Absolutely.
Um,
But we're there today. We have to get fire trucks up there, we have to get ambulances up there,
Right.
and we have to get them back off with patients in the back of them.
I mean,
We have to get
other than
plows up
Deer
there,
Haven, I know
yes,
Deer
that's
Haven
the
has been
road.
done, that was a subdivision. But are we just really basically keeping up to the main roads, getting to the subdivisions? Is that the crux of this whole thing?
More or less, there isn't enough money to keep up with the main roads, but
Right.
we try to do one every now and then, you know, we did do Deer Haven a few years ago. We did Mount William Pond, I just carried out the current road plan I started, that was probably the worst one. We fixed it.
Can I make my suggestion was going to be if we could take all these subdivisions, because they're, under the land use, there must be folders and backup information in the, folders that would give us when they were put in, when the road was accepted. We could try to figure out like what has been done, but have a spreadsheet of
Well, I can tell you,
what,
between about
how they are now,
1970
rate them.
I can tell you, between about 1978 and 1986, they were all put in and nothing's been done to any of them.
So-
I can do that.
Sitting at Bogue Road, I don't know about these people here,
Mhm.
but I don't think River Road should be paved until Bogue Road is paved.
I'll second that.
Because that road gets more paving, more attention because of Mount Williams. And I'm sorry, but I pay taxes just as much as everybody else does, and so doesn't everybody else here.
And a $300 increase
You
is
can't,
fine.
you
Thank
just
you.
can't do that. I mean, I'm trying to be respectful to everybody, but I think something needs to be done. I don't know if it's us marketing so that you can get a bigger budget passed. I'm willing to do whatever I can do to help with that. It's not paying for what we have. So, I don't know the answer. I'll let other people talk so I don't take the whole time up here, but I'll leave my closing argument to after.
Wendy, I can appreciate like what you're saying, and I'm not saying I don't agree with you, but I think like we need to see something that tells us like all these roads and their rating as to what, I mean, what would you rate River Road right now?
Well, it's about 7 sections. I just got done Friday, so I don't even have it on a spreadsheet. Still in the,
Okay.
And there's a lot. I mean, that's a lot for you guys.
we have 105 miles of road that we as a highway department is responsible for plowing and grading and maintaining.
So the
60
point
square
is,
miles.
we can't keep up with it
We
with
can't keep
480 and your resources,
Right.
your men. So somebody has to stop the building going in because of the paved roads. Until we can take care of our own, we shouldn't be allowing others come in. And that includes, I mean, I was looking to build, so I'm right there with that. But if we can't take care of what's here, we have a bigger issue.
Wendy, I'd just like to say something. I think, you know, probably Ben and all of us are just as upset as you are about, you know, not being able to take care of all the roads as good as they should be taken care of. But the only way to correct that is probably to put like a $15 million bond on, and your taxes are gonna go up to really attack what's here, what's the problems are, because it's not just Bog Road. There's probably, you know, a dozen sections in town, a lot of those early developments that went in. So without putting a bond in,
But
and
we keep repaving the ones that have been paved. And we're forgetting about the little ones because there's not as much, you don't see them as much.
well, I think when he paves, and Ben can correct me, but I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the road coming off the state roads, the main traffic through, because if they pave Bog Road and you've got to go through potholes on Mountain Road and Mountain School Road, you're not gaining anything.
No, and they did it right,
So
going
they've-
up through other than this.
So they've done that. And so I think, you know, and my suggestion earlier to you at the last meeting you were at 2 weeks ago was maybe we grind that road up and add some dirt to it and grade it for the next year or two. At least it'll be smooth. I don't know if that's an option that Ben
I'd
wants.
like to say something. I've lived on Bold Road for 30 years. I've been paying taxes.
Could you
And right
identify
now, I'm not
themselves?
feeling very
Okay.
valued
Just
as a
identify yourself,
citizen.
ma'am.
My name is Debbie Jackson. I've lived on Bogue Road for 30 years. I pay taxes. 30 years in that circle. It's never been touched. And right now, you're not making me feel like a valued resident of the town of Weare. I can tell you that. Okay, 30 years with the taxes. Figure it out. That's all I have to say.
Hi, everyone. Christine Lenedy. I have also lived on Bogue Road for 30 years. And Benji, I would like to know these roads that are more important than Bogue Road. You said something about doing Pine Hill Road? Didn't you just
No, I
do
said
Pine Hill last year?
No, I didn't, and I didn't say that it was more important, I was going to do it, I said it probably rated in the same condition.
Okay, well, I drove up it right before you paved it,
The ball.
and to me, it was not as bad as Bogue Road.
We've
So
never
I'm just
paved Pine
wondering, yes, Lull Road is horrible, and Lull Road needs to be fixed, because if we have any more big floods like we did the Mother's Day flood, that was the only way we could get out, was Lull Road. So if Lull Road goes away,
And it almost did too. This guy-
yes, that was a disaster. So Lull Road, and what other roads are next on your list that are too far gone to take care of that would be before Bogue Road?
I don't know if any would be, I'm going to make that list this year, I hope.
And
I
when
just
would we
got done
see this
Friday.
list?
Well, I can't.
You don't know? Okay.
I would think it would be a priority right now, because we need to do something
I
to,
just finished Friday, I couldn't put it no more.
Right, but I agree that, you know, fluffing and buffing Reservoir Road again. Well, I don't know who lives on Reservoir Road, but we don't. And we don't have to drive on it, but we have to drive on Bogue Road. And it's not good. I can't even ride a tricycle down that road because you cannot get 3 wheels to hit the road at the same time. And that's not good. So we really need to have our road addressed in some way. Is it possible to put hard pack on it so it's not just a mud bog road for 3 years? If
Well,
you
if you-
tear it up and get rid of all the pavement that pretending to be there?
You're asking to put hard pack on top of the pavement now?
No, if you're tearing up all the pavement
Yep.
and then you're just gonna leave it mud,
I wasn't gonna leave it in, it wasn't my suggestion.
okay. So if that is what the selectmen suggest, and if that's what goes on, what would you do so it would be?
Well, I'd have it prepped, would have everything that I would have just before pavement. I'd have the stone.
That's right.
Because as you know, right before you paved Mountain Road, it rained for 2 days and then you just paved over the mud. And then 5 days later, you had to come and patch it. That wasn't very impressive. So, if you're gonna get rid of our pavement, possibly, what would you do to keep it from being the mud bog that Mountain Road turned into?
It would be the same condition every other dirt road is in town. So,
And I don't drive on dirt roads because they're
well,
not good for my
They're
vehicle.
muddy when they rain, they're muddy in the springtime.
Muddy is one thing, but a ruined mess is another thing, like Mountain Road and Mountain School was when it was all torn up. We can't drive that for 2 years. So there's no, that was what we would be driving on is like it was right before you paved it, Mountain Road. That would be Bog Road for 2 years.
Suppose if that's the route everybody wanted to take.
So that would be our option. Okay, thank you.
Can I just say something? Whoever goes up, I'm not the leader of this pack, but just try to be really respectful of everybody. I know this is really emotional, but we all need to have respect for each other. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if I was disrespectful, I'm sorry, but like Debbie said, I feel disrespected that the road's not getting addressed.
And you can't hear back there, so you gotta speak up.
Hi, this is for you. That's what's left of Bog Road.
Yep.
You can pick 500 pieces up off that road.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Craven, C-R-A-V-E, Victor, E-N. What I haven't heard mentioned here, and I've had half the people admit it, we're not driving on that road. We're driving on the shoulder. We're not even using the road anymore because it's so bad. So what's the point of not taking it up? We're not driving it. You can't. Now, have you gone up there?
Yes.
Have you driven it?
Yes,
So you know you can't even drive that road?
I drove it
On the corner?
2 weeks ago.
Down around the corner?
Yep, I did.
You didn't mind the up and down and the up and down and up and down at the beginning of the road?
Yeah, it's up and down, but there are, I don't drive it, and I only went about 15 miles an hour because I didn't want to do any damage to my
Oh,
car.
there you go. Just as it's gonna get worse.
But it's the same thing. If I'm out on a dirt road, I'm doing 15 or 20
Yeah.
miles an hour. I'm not doing 50.
Well, I have to beg the emphasis, I just don't think you have 3 more years to take care of this road. It's just not gonna work. It's just gonna get worse. And you heard about plowing, they make it worse when they plow. It just gets more and more damaged. I mean, I don't want people's taxes to be raised, but, I mean, we all had to pay for the new schools. So I'm sorry if that's what it takes to fix all the roads. I guess you're gonna have to make that decision. And is that a decision you're willing to make, or what is the decision you're willing to make here? As I'm trying to find
Well, it'll
out.
be up to taxpayers to vote on that. If we put a $15 million or a $20 million bond on, it'll be up to the taxpayers to
And-
vote on that.
Are you going to do that? Is that where it's going?
Not this year.
It has to, I mean, it has to go through his board, it has to go through the fines committee, and then ultimately it has to go to the taxpayers.
And how long does that take?
It's the process of making the budget, which if we did it this year, it would start probably in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
The whole process,
The
talking
whole
a year or
process.
two, a year or two, a year?
Well, if we were to do the bond and everything like that, it would be on, it could potentially be on the warrant this year, for 2019, could be.
Could be, okay. All right. So I don't know.
I'd just like to say too, I would love to have a $2 million road budget, but I think if I asked for it, it would get shot down, then we'd have nothing. Well, we'd have the 280 block grant from the state, but, so the number pick is kind of out of the air, the 480,000, but it's one that we hope that is palatable. So how this works, a budget, warrant articles, anything, the first thing I do is come present it to the board. Get their graces on it, and it goes through CIP, and then it goes to finance, and it is probably, other than fireworks, 100%. If the finance says no, it doesn't get, it still go on the ballot, but if it's not recommended down there, the public doesn't vote on it. If it is recommended, the public votes yes on it. It's, you can look back for years, that's how it goes. So if I pick a number too high that doesn't agree with everyone else, I'd love to have two. I think Goffstown gets 2 or 3 million. They don't have a whole heck of a lot more roads than I do. So we're 60 square miles, second largest town land area wise in the state of New Hampshire. And I have 480 grand of work on it. I mean, if I can get everyone's back and up it to $1 million, then it'd be great, but, it's not that anybody doesn't want to do anything, it's just, everything costs money, unfortunately.
Hello, everyone. My name's Chris Weare. I live on Bogue Road. How's everyone doing? Everyone super happy? I don't envy your job, by the way. We've never met. You got a super hard job ahead of you. Has nothing to do with what happened before. I'm in maintenance myself and have been forever. And we could all just look at the negative side of this and how bad it is and stomp our feet and yell. But I think we got to figure out a solution. You know what I mean? I think everyone's swinging both directions. Either we're going to pave Bogue Road or we're going to spend $15 million. We got to meet in the middle somewhere. I don't think grinding the road up, personally, you're the pro, but you grind that road up and make it dirt, with how hilly it is, it's going to washboard, wash out, won't work. What I would like to see is an alternative proposal that'll get us maybe a couple of years of a reasonable road until we can establish a long-term plan to say, okay, this is what we're going to do, these roads this year. I know you're working on it. I'm sure it's a ton of work, but we got to give him time to do his job too. You know what I mean? It's our neighborhood. We're a little neighborhood down in the corner. Doesn't mean we don't matter, but River Road is more traveled. Everybody knows that. We can't pretend that it's not. It doesn't mean we don't matter, but we need to give him a chance to do his job. So does anyone have any like solution-oriented options? I think if we started using those a little bit, it would get a little further. Thank you.
So, Allison Yates, I live on Bogue Road as well. One of the solutions that, you know, in terms of brainstorming is we could use social media to amplify and get the cause out about how challenging it is, not just to pay for these roads, but to live with them and the damages that we have, and see if we can get the grassroots movement from old school and to modern technology.
I'm Wilbur McInerney. I live on Bogue Road. I had the second house on Bogue Road. I know when it was mud and when they put down what they called a road, and it was iffy at best. I can even tell you who was in charge of it then, but if you go back to mud, they couldn't get it past my house. And I'm right on the corner of Bogue Road. That's how bad that is. Once you take it off of there, if they don't put something down, you ain't gonna get down that road. They couldn't before, and that was I moved there in December of '85. They did the road in '88. And that's the last time I think they looked at it. And that was an outside contractor. That was the developer that did it. He also did Etta Lane, when you said Etta Lane,
Yeah.
Bartlett,
Bartlett.
same guy.
They're all the same condition.
Same person that was in charge of all of it.
Mike Lennon, I live on Bogue Road, and I kind of have a little idea. I had asked Benji if it's feasible at all, but we're talking 3 years, 5 years, all this time, turning it to dirt. Nah, none of that works. But for a stopgap, maybe so we don't have all these people here, you do what the state does, maybe patch up some of it with a grader and a dump a load of tar down and run a roller over it and call it patch for now. I mean, how much does that really cost?
We could do portions of it.
I mean, take it where it's really bad, put a Band-Aid on it. Then everybody won't be up in arms. It's gonna take you a couple of years to get to it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think you could fit fixing something in the budget rather than tearing it all up and, you know, doing it all over $50 million. I mean, you know, how much is a load of asphalt in one of your six-wheelers?
Oh, not terrible.
Roughly.
I don't know what it'd be ton would cost. We pay $61. Probably.
So a couple of loads, get a grader up there, spread it where it's really bad so it's passable. Stopgap for a little while. I do maintenance too.
Yeah. I can take the ride, see how many loads I think it'll take to
Just be the worst spots, realize that.
Yeah, right, but I mean, the worst spots, it's not totally all gone, but the parts that are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, in all reality, you can get to my house without hitting anything. But I have to go to my neighbor's house and it's not fun. You know, I'm gonna get in trouble taking my off-road vehicle over that, but that's about the best thing to travel on it, you know? But that was just an idea. What do you think of that? That's probably, I mean, the state does it all the time. You know, they take a road that's crap and they dump a load on it, spread it with a grader, and next thing you know, you're driving down the road smiling. All right, that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
How you doing, Benji? My name is Jeff Jackson. I live on Bogue Road too, and I just want to say 30 years of living there, you never hit my mailbox but once. And I think and whoever had hit it stopped and said, "We'll take care of that for you." I said, "Look, it's been 30 years and you haven't hit it yet. No worries." To me, it sounds like a funding issue. The taxpayers vote down everything that costs money. Do we know what it costs to maintain the roads in Weare? I mean, well, I mean, we get
what it would really
408.
cost, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, what does it cost to maintain, we don't like the way Bogue Road is, what does it cost to maintain all these Pine Hills to a passable, non-car damaging level of, pavement? And if we know what it costs, and if the finance committee is the roadblock, then maybe we can put together, how did you get the highway garage passed after 10 years of trying? A lot of publication, right? Now, I agree, to keep good people working there, you need some kind of garage, a facility to work in that's kind of, says, hey, we respect you guys. And I saw the old garage, it was a disaster, and the new one was kind of nice. So after how many years of trying, and a little publicity, so what does it cost to maintain the roads and Weare? Do we know that?
No, that's part of what we're gonna try to put together.
And I think until we have that number and can work on a publicity campaign saying, look at this, if you want roads paved, you're gonna have to pay the taxes, and this is what you're gonna get for it. Then we're just kind of, throwing $480,000 at a $2 million problem, and it'll never be fixed.
Right.
Make sense?
That's exactly right.
So, what is the 5-year plan or the 10-year plan?
Exactly.
Has there ever been one?
Yeah, it has, it's hard to keep.
What is the number that has been thrown out as a 480 just isn't enough?
Oh, I think we need a couple million a year to maintain.
That's a hell of a lot more than 480. And what does the state block grant give you? Is it a proportion of the number of people on the roads, or is it how much the town is going to commit?
No. Highlighted too. It's approximately 1,400 for each mile. Class 5, class 4. We don't have class 4. And $13 for each person. Based on that.
No, that's per person as in total population, or
I don't know,
taxpayers?
That's as far as it says, actually.
So I can imagine if I lived on a dirt road, I would go to the polls and say I'm not paying for any pavement.
Exactly. Or if your road got paved last year.
Yep. Do we have any idea how many people live on dirt roads versus how many people live on paved roads? Okay, any way to figure that out? So I mean, if 80% of the town lives on dirt roads, we might as well just quit now.
There's a lot of private and class 6 roads that don't get any plowing or nothing. That's the other ones you gotta talk about.
And you gotta remember state roads.
We have 3 state roads in town.
And I live on a state road and I pay taxes and I don't get any benefit from the highway department, just so you know.
Yeah,
Well,
you live on a nice state.
Yeah.
Huh?
Sure, your road's better than ours.
Well, I've lived in some different states, and the state does a good job here, and the town does a good job keeping the roads clean, so. So I think until we know what the real number is and can put something together, we're just kind of throwing $480,000 at a $2 million problem. That's my comment.
Thank you.
I just had a couple of points. My name is Abby. I live on Bogue Road. I don't envy your job whatsoever. You're doing a fine job. I did a search on the town's website for how many times Bogue Road was brought up, and it's been brought up quite a few times. And I found this proposed road reconstruction program, and Bogue Road for an overlay was listed for the 2018 season, where Mountain Road's listed for 2019 to 2020. So clearly we just keep getting pushed back. It's just
I saw that myself, and when I was here, I know, I told you, when the letterheads got changed, my name got put on, but when I was here as the foreman, that wasn't the plan at the time. That got put together when I left.
Yeah.
Someone else, I didn't make that, even though my name was on it. But, I think he planned on doing a 3-year. The only reason we did Mountain and 2 is because we got that extra money. So, otherwise, that would have been a 3-year project up there, which took everything else off another year. We were able to do it this year. So.
And I just wanted to bring up a couple of other incidents because I have smaller children, and there actually was an incident with someone else's son here. He was riding his bicycle home from the bus, and he hit a pothole and flew off of his bike, and actually had to have stitches. He had a broken arm. Yeah.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
And the ambulance had a rough time getting down to that ditch.
My fiance was the first one on scene, and he said it was, and he went to Afghanistan, and he said it was a horrible, horrible accident. And I also just wanted to say that I too drive on the shoulder to avoid hitting the road. And I have to swerve around a basketball hoop that's towards the front of the road, but it's like, do I hit the basketball hoop or do I hit the potholes to avoid damaging my car more? Or the chickens. So those are my thoughts. Oh, and friends and family, every single person that doesn't come to my house says we don't come during the winter because of your road.
Heard that.
So,
Yeah, heard that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Tom DeRocher, Bogue Road. I wanted to say thank you for all the plowing that you guys do in the winter. My oldest just got her license and is driving now, and I was surprised at how well the road was maintained in the winter, Mountain Road and all that. So thank you. That being said, it looks like the biggest issue here is money. That's what it all comes down to. And unfortunately, infrastructure, it's kind of like kids, isn't it? They cost money. You can't have them and walk away from them. You got to take care of them. I don't like taxes. I don't like taxes as much as the next guy. I've got to pay them, and I want to pay them so that we can educate our kids, so that we can drive on our roads. It's a necessary evil. So that being said, Finance Committee appears to be a stumbling block for a lot of people in this town, and I appreciate that. If the number's too high, they're going to turn it down. So I guess it's up to the town if we want to start taking care of our infrastructure to stand up to that type of thing. We need to say, well, are we going to fork over? I hate saying this, but are we going to fork over a little more so that we can drive on our roads, right? That's what it comes down to. I don't know what the solution is. Maybe it's better public relations. Maybe it's getting the word out. Look, this stuff's necessary because kids are wiping out on their bikes because they can't even drive down our road. You know, we've got safety concerns, but we've got to raise the awareness that sometimes you have to spend a little money. It's like our schools. We won't pay to fix a leak in the roof. We'd rather let the school collapse. Well, you can't do that. That's kind of dumb, isn't it? So we got to start taking care of our roads. It costs money. We got to put up, right? So that's all I have to say. Oh, and also, I don't like the idea of tearing it up because it's just going to washboard out and it's going to turn into mud. And, so I thought the idea of maybe smearing it with a little bit of tar, that might be a good idea. I don't know, but I asked people to heartfully consider not turning it into a dirt road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say something back up Connor was saying. I don't mind paying taxes if I get services. I only get angry with paying taxes if I don't get services, is the point here. If you've, just my personal opinion, if you've got to raise them, raise them. I don't mind paying for it. that's better than paying for not getting anything. That's just to back what he said.
Reason within reason.
Yes, thank you, within reason.
Oh, easy, easy. Jump up, get you.
Bob Murchie, Bogue Road. I envy you. You've got the toughest job in town, trust me. I agree with Michael. The state does a wonderful job at skim coating roads. If you look throughout the state, they have a program where they do that. They pick the worst roads, they skim coat them, and then 2 or 3 years later, they'll go back and they'll pave them. So I would like you to look into that and get back to us with a plan on what the cost would be for that. You know, the thing is that, you know, the road's horrible, but there are portions of the road that aren't that bad. So to your point, if you got the bad portions skim coated, I think we could all live with that. At least it's a game plan rather than, you know, talking about turning into a dirt road, which I'm adamant that we should not do. I've seen pictures from Wilbur's house when it was dirt and it was just a complete mud hole. On that perspective. So I guess if we could get something from you as far as if that's feasible. And then I think the other thing that we should look at is the culverts on the road. I know the culvert by Michael's house. Michael, it goes the wrong way.
It goes uphill.
It goes uphill. So it doesn't drain. So I mean, there are things that are, I think that we can look at on the road and do for that. So that's all I have.
So if we do the skim coating or whatever you want to call it, the technical term, my only concern with that is that we do that and then we wait 10 more years. So I just urge you to have a real plan in place that we can stick to if that's something that's going to be done. Otherwise, we're going to be back here again, and it's going to be probably worse because people are going to even be more ticked off. So I don't know anything about the engineering and what you can and can't do, but if that's something that is feasible, we need to have a plan. We also need to have a plan to get the town to start looking at the finance committee and whatever we can do, maybe volunteer, whatever we need to do to help with that. I think you have a lot of support here. You didn't even need to have his vest. That's pretty good. Us Bogue Road people are all right. But so just be careful of everybody saying, yeah, let's do this. I really am optimistic, cautiously optimistic, that we don't put ourselves in a deeper hole by doing something like that.
I just want to say I appreciate everybody for coming. I honestly do. You know, I don't envy him either. He has one of the hardest jobs in town. You know, I'm glad that there was a lot of constructive ideas brought up here. You know, again, it's one thing to just, you know, point fingers, but it's another thing to actually come with a solution. And I as one appreciate that. And I think the shim is a legitimate, you know, thought process idea. And the other thing is too is, you know, there's 40-ish people in this room and in the hallway. You know, the avenues now in 2018 are a lot different than they were in 2000 and 1995, et cetera, on spreading the word. And again, if there's 40 people here from Bogue Road, how many people on Pine Hill share the same sentiment about their road? And, you know, other roads, Wallingford Terrace, that's what, you know, Benji brought up. You know, one post shared goes to 4 people tell 8 people, and next thing you know, all the town knows. So again, I mean, you know, I do believe myself that we need to, you know, that warrant article that we've put out for years is just not enough. It's plain and simple. It's not enough for this entire town. You know, is $2 million what we need to have on there for the first year? Maybe not. Would $1 million be better? Small steps. The ship turns slow. But again, I think that, you know, again, I got a full pad of note here. So, you know, I think that a lot of constructive, you know, ideas were brought up tonight. And again, I'm you know, probably one of the ones that travels the road more often. Second to Benji, being on the fire department rescue squad myself. So I know these roads. I know which ones are bad. Not saying any one's worse than the other, but I know Bogue Road is bad. I got a friend that lives on Bogue Road, and again, I go up there. I go very slow because it's a rough road. So again, I hopefully the between Benji making his plan, this board coming up with a proposal to make a more sustainable number on that warrant article. And like you said, if the taxes have to go up, I mean, unfortunately, the town is swelling. Again, you look back to 2000, and then to 2010, and then 2018. I mean, just how many roads have been put in since then? How many developments, how many more taxpayers we have using the road system. And again, feeder roads like River Road for all the developments down there, Deer Haven, Cliff Park Road, Barn Hill, Mountain Road, Etta Lane, Bartlett Drive, Bogue Road, Abbey Drive, all those. How many more cars are on those than 10, 15 years ago? So I couldn't agree more. So, anybody else like to speak to it?
I would just like to know what the next step is.
Well, I think Benji, I think, is going to get some numbers on that shim. I think that would be probably, like I said, a temporary solution to a more permanent problem that we have. And that would, again, alleviate some of the issues. He's coming up with the master plan of the road system in order. Again, that 5-year document that was put out, to me, I'm calling it a living document because needs change as they go on. And again, he's got his name on the letterhead, unfortunately, but it wasn't him. That's what's great.
Could I, and just show us you're trying. Somebody like put it on the website or whatever. Just show us you're trying. At least you're trying. We get that.
Yeah.
And I know you got to fight with the finance committee, but
right. And like I said, I mean, I think it's fine. Again, if the outlets that we have today to spread the word, I think if we put a attainable warrant article together, that could again be pliable with the town, and again the residents on Pine Hill, Wallingford Terrace, High Rock, they all get together with you folks. That's what's going to take. It's going to take numbers and information. Because like I said, a lot of people go to the ballot and go, I don't want my taxes to go up, but I've done absolutely no research on this. No, right down the line. So again, sometimes you get unfortunately, but. So yeah, no, I think that to answer your question, Wendy, I think Benji will get the numbers together for the shim for the temporary, and then probably when he gets his numbers together on that entire group for the town, we'll have a real number to go forward with a bond. My hope was that potentially that maybe that bond, that major bond, could be issued after the highway garage is paid for. And that way there, we wouldn't see the tax rate go this, and then this when all the bonds come in. And you kind of see a more stable tax rate. But again, I don't think that at this point in time, that's because of the timeline, I don't think that's going to be viable.
I'm sorry, how long was the garage?
I think we go another 7 years? 8 years. So again, and that's what I'm saying, I don't know if that's viable or not because of that timeline. But that was my hope, where that was such and the safety complex got paid off kind of at the same time that this bond was ready to come out a few years ago. So that kind of kept the tax rate somewhat level, not on the town side of it. I can't speak for the schools, but on the town side of it. So again, I think that's the direction we need to head is get that numbers together, and then hopefully if you seem to spread the word pretty good. I hate to put you as the point man, but you kind of spread the word pretty good because all these people are here. Maybe what we can do is work with you, work with Wendy, and kind of spread the word of as we progress this year with where we're at with the warrant articles and what we want to do as far as funding. Getting a number on there. And then maybe it'll be up to you guys. Again, we're only 5 people that we can talk.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Communicate with us. There hasn't been communication. Show us you're trying, show us something. And I need to ask a question because I don't know how it works. So back to the bond and people voting on the bond, does that mean if they keep voting no, we're still in the same boat?
Yes, that's correct. No means no too. That's the other thing too is if we were to put a warrant article on there and say we need to raise and appropriate $800,000 to repave Bogue Road. If that was a no means no. We can't put a shim code on it. We can't do anything because no means no by law. So that's why if we were to if we were to do road by road and put it out there, that's where I'd be very hesitant to do that as a board member, because no means no. So, and that's exactly what I'm thinking, you know. But I think smaller steps than just saying, all right, we're gonna go from 480 to 2 million. But again, we need to start working that way. Absolutely.
And a bond issue needs a 2/3 vote too.
Yeah, bonds need 2/3 vote to pass as well.
I agree with that the most, I guess. There's work your way up, and you gotta have a 10-year plan on your CIP form, and I have eked it up a little bit every year. I just don't think it's enough. I went up 20 grand this year. And I'd like to just say, when I said that, you know, it goes through Selectmen, CIP, and into finance, I get along, I've had no problem with the finance. My point is that it's their job, I guess, to make sure that they think things are palatable. So I'm not saying they're a roadblock, because they haven't been. I've had good luck the 3 years I've been in this position. But I'm afraid that if I went from 480 to 2 million, they'd be like, So.
Yes, sir.
My name's Tim Williams. I'd just like to say something. I don't know if I have to step up there.
If you could navigate, just so all our viewing audience can hear as well.
I've been a property owner in Weare for over 34 years and a resident of Bogue Road for almost 23 years. And I was just wondering, I don't know how it works, but you guys have a proposed town budget and then you have a default budget. I don't know if this could work with the road. The proposed 480,000 is what the budget is, but seeing as though we have what we would need to keep everybody happy and to fix the roads that we have, we would need this much, and that would be a bond that you vote on, and hope that everybody sees that it's going to be spread around town. It may not hurt them so much to pay another 30 cents a year per thousand on their taxes or whatever, but if it fails, you still have your 480.
Right.
Is that something that could be done?
And the way it works currently is the fact that, if we put a bond out there, specifically for the roads, that was what those funds would be spent for.
Yeah.
And that would be its own standalone article. The 480 plus what the state, the state and our contribution as of current is a standalone article for roads only. What we could put in the operating budget default proposed would be like a maintenance line. Yeah. Where maybe we could, Benji could come up with, we'll say, for all the other roads in town, we could come up and say, all right, well, a 6-wheeler or 10-wheeler of asphalt costs $1,000, and we're going to use the grader to shim. How many loads of shim would you like? All right, well, 30,000. Let's put that in the proposed budget, and if it passes, then we would have 30,000 in the budget every year going forward from that day, if it passed.
Which would alleviate that much out of the 480.
Not really so much, but if we had, trying to get on the other side of this cusp, if we didn't do the bond right away, we didn't do the bond the next 2 or 3 years, that 30,000, call it, like I said, rough number out there, would be for the shimming of all the rough spots in the road.
Right, I'm just saying that would then be 30 less thousand he would need to spend out of his 480.
Probably not, because that 480 would be for complete rip up, rebed construction. Where that 30,000 will only be for, if a road washes out, culvert washes out, emergency funding to put that back together. So.
But you could purchase your culverts and your other things in your maintenance, and your 480 could be just reconstruction.
Right. Instead of pulling culverts and stuff like that out of that road reconstruction fund as we do now, we could actually use that 30,000 maintenance line instead to pull things out of it. So more of that 480 or 1 million, 2 million, whatever it ends up being, could be right. So that again, that's the difference between the proposed and default, abilities right there.
It seems like a safer way to creep up getting everything done without dropping a giant number on everyone.
Right, and I think a bond, again, a big bond is going to scare, a lot of individuals that aren't, I want to say that haven't, listened to the points on both sides of the fence.
They haven't been educated, basically.
Right.
It sounds like a big bond would just be a waste of time.
Well, it wouldn't be a waste of time, because then all the roads would be back to status quo. But then at that point, you'd have to put, again, I'm speaking for myself. If any of the board members want to speak out, please do. But again, then you would put that 30,000 or 40,000 in the operating budget on top of the bond that's already been done to maintain. If you get a pothole in one of the brand new roads, say, something goes through or an accident happens, then he could use that 30,000 to properly patch that spot to get the max longevity out of it. That would be my thought.
In other words, and I don't think it's coming across, the $480,000 is a warrant article. It's separate from the budget. It's not in the operating budget for the highway department.
Right.
But he doesn't have a maintenance line item, in addition to that, to maintain the roads above and beyond.
Right.
So that 30,000 would be a line item in his budget. It's
Proposed-
above and
proposed
beyond,
item.
proposed, to be above and beyond the 480. Now, the 480 is not a budget number. That would be, like, if he wants to put it in, he wants to upgrade it to $500,000. That's to do the road reconstruction. The 30,000, like Rick's saying, is going to take away from that. It's not gonna come out of that money, but what he's gonna do is have another item to buy his culverts instead
It's
of
additional
tapping
money.
into that money. So that warrant article will be there to just do the reconstruction and not to buy the culverts or the headers to do that extra stuff, or if tap out of it if he had a flood. You know, we've got that road reconstruction money. We can go tap into that to go throw stone in a sinkhole.
Or the maintenance
someplace.
line, right.
So this way, he's got a maintenance line that's in that budget, and if it passes, the proposed item passes in that line item of the budget, it's gonna be there year after year after year.
And then again, we could also say, all right, so say the first year is 30,000 proposed, and then next year we propose to add another 10,000 that account. So now you got 40,000 maintenance, and whittle that maintenance line up, Again, on top of, we the five of us know that roads need to be all pulled up and revetted in this town. It's fact. But again, to get on the other side of it, if you can't maintain what you got, so no,
Be in the same problem.
right,
as
and we've said that that there's a lot of there's different boards that see the budget before the taxpayers see it. Again, CIP, the Finance Committee, us, the Planning Board actually sees it as well. But I don't want to sit here and discredit or beat on any of the boards. I mean, most of them are volunteer boards. And they're looking at, again, the dollars and cents. I mean, especially the Finance Committee, they're looking at the dollars and cents, and that's what we have that board for. So it's one more check and balance in the system before the taxpayers get it. So again, I don't envy some. Again, the department heads go to the Finance Committee and they get well, why are you spending this here? Why are you spending that there? So that again, the Finance Committee is looking at the dollars and the cents. But again, if 40 people show up and then another 20 from other roads show up at, say, the Finance Committee, the CIP Committee, and say, hey, listen, this money needs to be spent, and that could, again, just inform them, those boards, that say, hey, the taxpayers out there do want this, so let's put it on the ballot.
The other thing too is it was brought up that some of these developments, it keeps putting more roads in. When these roads like Bogue Road, some of those roads, Pine Hill, were built, there wasn't the enforcement, the code enforcement. There wasn't the engineers that came out and looked at it. They just threw them down, whatever material, and paved over it. And I sit on the planning board and I watch this stuff come through, and they do their due diligence. And these roads are not accepted. We have developments going on in town right now. Now they'll pave those because they're required to. But the thing is that we're not going to accept them to be under the highway department's purview until they make sure they meet all the standards and have hearings on it, that we're gonna take that. And if we don't like the way it's done, and he says no, then we're probably not gonna take that road on to maintain it. It'll be up to either the people that live on it or a private contractor, the contractor that's putting it in. And they're held to a certain standard, that their feet are held to the fire, that the material that's there, and the code enforcement officer is down on these roads constantly, that they're building in these developments to make sure that the material is in there, the engineering reports are there, so we don't have this problem in 5 years or 10 years.
And that's where that maintenance line would come into effect, is something that's been brought up to a Class 5 road standard.
So
I thought in this town you can't build on a Class 6 road, so how are you?
Well, we're not building it. I mean, they can build on a Class 6 road, but they have to go through all the hearings. There's certain standards that the people, if they have a house, it's one house, but I'm talking about new developments.
Yeah, like that one on 114.
Like on 114, that's not a Class 6 road.
No, I know, but do you make that road,
It could be a private road.
Huh?
It's not maintained by us.
Yeah,
but they.
We set a standard, they have to meet a certain standard, engineering standard, to have that road put together.
Yeah, but do they do that before they start building? Because
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
they have
you
to get that approval,
a
and that
road
goes
up
before,
town
goes to the
standard
planning
Before
board.
they can build on it.
Yeah, they
Before
have-
we accept it.
Before we accept it, has to be done, and the planning board, comes before the planning board, and then the enforcement, the code enforcement officer is down there inspecting that road constantly, and the engineers are in constantly doing it.
So no
And we have
building-
town engineers that also we have contracted with that check this stuff.
So no building goes on until that road is up to standard?
Yeah, they can
If
get
we're gonna
conditional,
accept it.
they can get conditional building, but they have to meet this standard before any occupancy.
So, again, and we're getting a little off topic, because I think, but again, it's, we need to be reactive to the roads that we have, absolutely. And I say unfortunately, your guys' road was put in the 80s and the 90s when they ran a D6 dozer down it, put asphalt on it, as the gentleman said, and called it a victory. And we don't do that anymore, in a nutshell. So, but again, like I said, it's we'll do our best to to keep in contact with you people, at least, right, wrong, or indifferent, to keep in contact with you people, and let you guys know where we're at.
So, your plan that you're putting together, that you just finished on Friday, that's gonna take some time, obviously, to get all that. When that's gonna come for the selectmen, that typically happens? And
Kind of.
It's gonna be part of your department update, because when you look at the agenda, I just wanna know how we realize when that's ready.
Yeah, I'll probably show them a copy of it. I want to know for myself, how much is it going to take to make, all the roads. I know it's not feasible. I want a number, so when I'm asked, I can take 10 minutes to tell you how much it's going to take to fix your road or Pine Hill Road. I mean, it's just quick numbers. But when you have 105 miles of road, I need to look at a list of them. So, and the last 2 or 3 road agents have done the same thing, so it's kind of neat to look back, not neat, I guess, but it's kind of interesting to look back at. They had the same trouble. Some of these roads are poor when they did them, and they're still poor when I did. Some of them aren't. Some of them got fixed. But, it doesn't mean that we're gonna do a bond and putting it together to see if it's even worth asking for. I think it's gonna be such an astronomical number that I'm not sure. I would rather get the road reconstruction up personally.
Absolutely, but with that number, you're gonna be able to sell, this is how bad it is.
Right.
This is just a sliver of what we really need.
Right.
So it'll just help sell it.
If you landed, you need $2 million to get everything up to snuff, then when you ask for $750 or $1 million, all of a sudden it's a lot easier to swallow.
Right. And I'd love to have a maintenance line and a gravel crushing line in my budget, but then I'm gonna be the guy that blows the budget out of the water, you know what I mean? So, because to get all my gravel crushing and culvert purchase and all that, that's easily $100 grand I take out of the road reconstruction to buy culverts, crush gravel every year. So,
Does
anyway.
all this go into deliberative session, like when you?
When we put a warrant article up, every warrant article goes to deliberative session and gets discussed, and then it gets a yay or an nay, or if it goes onto the paper ballot that everybody sees in the box. So, and again, if you guys go to the CIP, you go to the finance committee, you go to the deliberative session and support these warrant articles again. And I'm not just saying Bow Road residents, but more citizens.
Yeah.
We'd love to
Get
see
involved.
it. We would love to see more faces at these meetings. Huh? Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, well, we got the place across the street, so we can use that. But, so again, I'm one board member, but again, I appreciate all your input and positive input as well. So.
And I appreciate the work that Benji's doing right now
Yep.
with this survey and everything, and I think that this board needs to see this 105 miles of road that we have to be
Per mile
responsible
condition.
for.
Mhm.
Exactly. What each road is rated and so forth, and, then we'll have a better picture too as to what we're looking at, so,
I have it measured right to the
Unfortunately, it
foot,
probably hasn't been done
There you
for
go.
30 years, so,
It'd be nice to see it.
it would be nice to see it.
And that will be a living document as well.
Yeah.
Roads will change even after, I'm sure after he gets it all written and typed up and put on our desk, culvert will collapse.
Yeah.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, it's Murphy's Law, so.
Right.
But, again, thank you all.
Thank you. Does anybody else, you have something to say?
Speak, yep, speak.
It has nothing to do with road review.
Oh, okay.
I'm not on the agenda, so I don't know if I can do this.
Is it public comment?
We'll slide you in right now.
Oh, okay. Diane Hunt. I want to ask, there's a bunch of us here from all seasons, and we're only open 10 months, and we want to know what we can do to open for 12 months.
It's gotta go back to the planning
It's
board.
gotta go back to the planning board.
So I have to go to a planning board meeting?
You'd have to submit a proposal to the planning board. The thing to do is get a hold of the planning board when they're open, and they'll give you the paperwork to do that.
Okay. All right, great,
And
thank
they'll
you.
put you on the agenda for the planning board meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you so
I
much.
thought that All Seasons though went through the state.
No.
Wasn't that a state thing to be?
It was a court case.
It's a court case, but
Okay.
that'll get hashed out at the planning board too.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Rocky Road.
Yeah. Don't dent the floors. Thank you.
I'm Boston, I'm sure that explains that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Now I understand.
I actually work nights. So
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Was it something you said, Ben? You know,
Is there anything else you guys want to?
Actually, I think you only wanted Sean through that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all set.
Yeah.
I think you're both. I think you're both
You can
all
both
set.
go.
You're all set. You and your tuxedo are all set.
Did what's the status on the plow truck?
Nope.
Well,
Glad you brought that up.
Well, I got thought.
Very good. It came in while I was on vacation. McDivitt delivered it to Tenco. I think my build date was the first or second week in October, and they figured they would have all the gear in this week, and they're gonna start building it. So I'll be a month ahead of time. I did get a call. I know there's nothing we knew about it. Just want to be aware. I did get a call today, and said, just to let you know, they're already ordering trucks. You may already know this. They're already got trucks out to May next year.
Yeah.
Up to what?
The build date for May next year,
Ooh.
right now today. So I know there's nothing we can do, but
Build dates are
boy,
way
it'd
behind.
really be cool someday to get enough to buy a truck in the winter when there's nobody has anything else to
Yeah.
do, you know. So next year, I hope we get a truck, but we may not. We may not have it for next winter.
Is your plan a 6-wheeler or 10-wheeler for?
I'm gonna stick 10-wheelers. I might keep a couple of the 6-wheelers if they stay in decent shape. There just isn't much more money to buy that go than short 10s, you know.
Okay. For the
'Cause
amount
I'm
of
getting
material, are they?
I'm getting the little ones, and they just don't have any overweight issue. Keep 2 big ones. The Kenworth's a big one. The Mac's a big one. I like to replace them with a big one.
Yeah.
They got long routes. Truck a long ways from the shop. You know, the Mac goes clear down to South Weare, which is the furthest, and Kenworth starts at the Highway Garage and goes to New Boston on River Road. So, and everything off it. So, but the short ones, you know, I plowed half the season with one of the tightest turnarounds in town of Ware's Cram Road. And I yet turned right around in with that little 10-wheeler. So. You may see me proposing not to trade the 6-wheeler this year, so I have a spare. I think it's crazy we have 11 frontline plow trucks and nothing to back any of them up. And I got $7,000 at International this year for trade. So, you know, and then trade that out next time, keep a good spare. So. Whether it goes through, you guys agree on it, that I don't know, but you're gonna see me probably ask for that, and that's why, for $7,000. And then maybe next year trade that one, keep one of the, I'd like to get one of them little Volvo automatics to stay as our International as my spare.
Now, obviously, quite a bit of input from the last hour or so.
Yeah.
Again, I never really thought of doing the shim with the grader. Is that something you think you're going to be capable of?
I think it's gonna take an awful lot, but I'm happy to go
Get a
try
number.
to paint the absolute worst areas and measure up and get a rough idea. Shim's an awful hard thing to do.
Okay.
I guess what I'll do, to be honest with you, is I'll take my measurements and maybe get our paving contractor that we hired this year. He's number one, really good at it, and number two, they're good at thinking outside the box.
Okay.
Sometimes they can lay it down cheaper than I can.
Okay.
Last time I bought pavement, I paid more for it at the plant than they came to town and put it down.
We don't have a pavement roller, well, I'll get it rented. Not a bad idea. I'm just saying, those are the things you gotta think about.
I see the state got away from using the grader to
They went with
box
the
them in
pavement
there.
box.
They're renting,
Some
they're
places.
renting pavers.
I see that. They didn't clean it out very good, cause they drug cold chunks right up 114.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Well,
Yeah, they did.
It's just, it's a little better than the,
My opinion,
using the
pavement-
grader blade.
My opinion, pavement's like concrete. You gotta let someone who's good at it do
Yeah.
it.
You had any luck on the pirate?
No. So my guy that I had all set, they offered him more money and he stayed where he is. I had a young kid show interest there this week, but,
You're down 2?
I'm down 2. I'm hoping to fill. I did have a young kid come. He's just acquired a CDL. I don't know him. Somebody else knew him. He applied when he didn't have a CDL. So
Now he does.
now he does. It's just, it's tough. Again, same old story, you know. Town of Weare doesn't pay as much as everybody else. I know everybody's sick of hearing it, but it's the God's honest truth. That's just what it is. So.
Well, especially when you get New Boston's paying more than.
$2 more
Yeah,
now.
an hour to
I
start.
mean, I think we have
And
to-
they're having a hard time getting.
I'm gonna also ask the taxpayers to give over and above our raise. Next 2 years, I'd like to see a $2 increase, $1 this year and $1 next year. For one, I'd like to keep the guys that have stuck it out for 6, 7 years,
Yeah.
and for two, I'd like to be able to start new. I can't start anybody more. They're gonna make more than the guys that have been there, and then that's a sure deal to get everybody to quit. So. So. Anyway, I know everything comes down to money. Everyone gets sick of hearing it. That's an honest God reason. So.
This is about the roads, Donna Osborne. People gotta realize when we do a 5-year, or 6-year, or 10-year, we've had 3 road agents. It was
Right.
Carl, I understand he was here for a while, but then Tim took over. And then Tim left, and then Benji's here. You know, I understand Benji's been there, but I think it's different when you take the pyramid top part and to be in charge. And everybody sees everything a little different when they're in that position. You know, you go 3 different lawyers and you can get 3 different answers because I see things different. And I just hope that people realize that Benji's on the totem pole now, and he'll look at things different than the other 2 guys did, and he's doing a great job.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, I know you guys probably got things to do, so.
Sounds like you got a lot of work ahead of you. More than you already had.
Okay, no?
All right, stop
Thanks,
burning the
Tim.
midnight oil.
I think we're good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
So that.
Oh, you always have.
No. All right. We'll move on to the approval of meeting minutes.
2 sets.
2 sets, 7:30 and 8:13.
So, so Hannah, I'll take the corrections and I'll fix them to make them final.
Okay.
So I'll do that because you sent them to me in Word, so I could do that and make them final, okay? So you don't have to do that as well.
Okay.
Because then I'll just pop them on the website after, okay?
You could just let me know when you put them on the website.
Oh, okay. I thought I sent them back to you. You
All
get
right.
that back? Okay, sorry about that.
No, not a problem. All right. Internet connection is lovely here. I'm trying. Page 1 of the 7:30.
On page 1, the 3rd paragraph up from the bottom, just remove the word "for."
Oh, okay.
Need to discuss their outstanding taxes.
Or
Just remove "for."
Mm-hmm.
anything else on page 1? 2?
Under public comment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. The starting of the sentence should say several of the uprights on the railing are missing.
Oh, okay. Just take the out.
Yeah. department head on the first line. Oh, forget that, it's was instead of were, it doesn't matter. Last line. One group. Take out the word not. That one group is only getting 2 hours and another group is getting, is that what it should read? Okay.
You took not out, what about like, that really doesn't need to be in there.
The what one?
Like 15 hours. This should be getting 15, 10 to 15 or something.
Anything else on 2?
No.
3.
Instead of was opened on the second line down, should is open to anyone?
Okay.
Second line down in the second paragraph, should be wife apostrophe s instead of wives car.
Okay. Page 4.
Only thing on this one, on page 4, the last line, oh, excuse me, second to last line. Instead of position, possession.
Okay. Anything else on 4? 5.
Under the doghouse bulkhead, the third down. If you take the first word room and add in will be contacted to see if he would be interested.
Say that again?
Will be contacted, or maybe just fine the way it is.
I think it's fine the way it is.
Yeah.
Personally.
When I read it before, it
Yeah.
didn't sound right because I
All right.
probably was reading it different.
Anything else on 5?
Yeah.
6. Entertain?
Second paragraph down,
All
1,
right.
2, 3, 4. Oh.
Oh, I hear you. Okay, go ahead.
I think it's the last, the should be she. And then I didn't know what this was. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 the lines down from that, where the entire can't run the roads.
Maybe an entire should be trucks. Where
Where the trucks can't run the roads, yeah.
I think the entire should be trucks.
Yeah.
Autocorrect. That'll love it.
Yep, that's it.
All right. I'll entertain a motion. Move to accept the meeting minutes of 7:30:18 as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, move on to 8:13. I gotta find it.
Which was Hannah's first night. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Yes.
These ones are real,
Now where did it go? Right there.
Okay.
All right, page 1.
if you go through and do your, to change, Bograd Road is spelled like 2 or 3 different ways throughout. So it's B-O-G-U-E.
Yeah.
So if you just do that, then you'll be fine.
Okay, that's the only error I can think of.
Well, it just, maybe
couple.
just a couple,
Not
other than
much.
that, and then it's
good.
perfect.
Anything else on page 1? Page 2?
Okay. And I don't know if this was said that night, but this is what it should be. With, on the paragraph as you are on page 2, the one that starts at the top, go down to board and to be redug and paved. I don't think it, 450,000 per mile for Bogue Road to be redug and paved, just to add.
Anything else on page 2? 3?
One thing, I got a question more than anything else.
On 3?
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm sorry. Well, first paragraph where we moved and voted and whatnot, and it said passed 3-1-0 with Chairman Hipper abstaining. I thought the abstaining was at the end.
Yeah.
So it'd be 3-0-1.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes. Okay. Yep.
So it's passed.
Failed.
No,
Pass.
abstain.
Yeah.
Abstain.
Yes. Yay, nay, I don't know.
Good catch, I didn't catch that one. I didn't find anything else. I don't know if anybody else did.
Anything else on page 3? 4? 5? And 6? And 7? Move to accept the 8/13/18 minutes as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Good job.
Yeah.
I wasn't here.
You gotta be here, yeah. All right.
Nice job, Hannah.
Yeah, great job.
You had less corrections.
Very
than I
good
did.
job.
Yes.
You had less corrections than I did.
Well, you're younger, you should be better. She's older.
Wait a minute.
Nice.
Wow.
I don't know. Tough crowd.
All right, we'll move on to the manifest.
Do you have a sheet?
I do. Right here in front of me.
Did you get a sheet?
I think so.
No, we didn't get a sheet.
No, you didn't get one either.
All right, well,
You have to share it with me.
I won't write on this one then.
Oh, you write them. I don't care. I
Okay.
write them all the time.
All right. I know there's gonna be discussion about this, but I'll move the order to treasurer the signed payroll and accounts payables checks date August 30th, 2018, as included in the following manifest. A payroll manifest of $53,373.08 for weekly payroll, and accounts payable manifest is $73,266.33. A Weare School District manifest of $450,000, and John Stark Regional manifest of $250,000 for a total of $828,639.41. The following manifests were previously ordered to be signed at the August 13th Board of Selectmen meeting. A payroll manifest of $57,497.55 for a payroll checks date 8/23, and an accounts payable manifest of $31,836.35 for checks dated 8/23 as well. As there is no selectmen's meeting scheduled for Monday, September 3rd, please vote to order the treasurer to sign payrolls checks dated September 6, 2018, estimated to be about $65,000. Furthermore, to order the treasurer to sign up the amount of $60,000 for accounts payables that cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting of the September 10th, 2018, without incurring late charges or interest. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion in the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Okay, well, there's gonna have to be discussion because we don't have enough signatures on the
Right.
on the payables and the payrolls.
And all of us.
Well, I
So-
don't think legally you cannot pay.
And
I know
that's-
you're not happy.
And that's my thought.
But
is-
at the same time, that you have to, you understand they're 6 short at the time, and he's been out on the street, as you can tell.
Mhm.
So there's some additional staff work that's being done. So I realized, what was it, 6 hours?
6 hours.
8 hours,
and
6 hours.
6 hours before that, I think.
5.5 one week, 6.5 next week, keep going up.
I mean, I think until we get staff steadied back, I don't think you can not pay her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I believe it's the hours have been worked and approved by the supervisor. So you can't hold it against the individual. But again, it can be.
And I hear you. I mean, we should have that discussion, but I think,
Yeah, I mean, you only ask for 1 week, and all of a sudden it's every week again. Bang, 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 every week.
and then, you've got one away at the guards now on top of everything else. So, and, I completely hear you. I don't think, it's already been worked.
Well, probably
So I don't think you can
more
not pay.
administrative work because it means the chief isn't in the station to do it.
Now, is there any questions? That was the payroll. Is there any question? I think you already signed that one.
I did.
Yep, the only one that has
Oh,
signed that
that-
was Jeff.
yeah.
The accounts payable has 0 signatures on it, so.
Is that for the one electrical receipt?
It's both of them.
Both
It's
of
both weeks, have not been signed by anybody.
I did.
except- Well, you signed the payroll.
I signed the.
Well,
accounts
are we
receivable.
we talking two different things though, right?
Well, no, well, this, yeah, payroll is done, we're talking payable. accounts
Right,
payable.
with 2 different weeks of
Two different
payables
weeks.
haven't been signed?
Correct.
All right, well, the checks have been out, so.
So again, and you know, again, that to me rolls back to the fact of the work has been done.
Well, I don't think the work's done on this week's manifest. The work was done before, but that was something that you already had put out to bid, and you had awarded it to him before you awarded the electrical contractor.
Yeah, I understand.
That one,
That one, I understand.
Okay.
So it's this week, so I'm not happy with it.
Right,
Fire
but-
department hiring somebody else.
right,
Well,
but,
he's out of town.
but it
Well,
also, well, this
you know,
was
does the
ordered.
work have to be done right there? You know, that's just an excuse, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think he was contacted long before. This is what, you know, I understood from talking with the chief. He was contacted before about doing this project. I don't know when I could find that date out, if it's important enough for you, or, you know, I guess you could put a hold on it and have Carol look at it as well, but, if that's what you wanna do. Carol is out of town.
Yeah, he has been for 3 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna be another week or 2 weeks yet. Cause he did let me know that he was leaving town.
That was this week, right?
No, he let me know last week. He
No,
should be back
that was
next
this week's
week.
payables, though, it was the.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Now what about last week's?
No. Last week's he was okay with because it was a bid you guys already did to
Okay,
do the
fine.
lights.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I signed last week's payroll.
He did sign last
You signed
week's.
payroll, you didn't sign.
Is that the only question or is there something else lingering?
That's about it.
Okay.
Other than
If you'd like, I mean, I
the
can,
cars are still going down south instead of north.
Yeah, I've seen 2 police cars down on the hill in the last
Well,
2 or 3 weeks.
One of them was AC work, and I don't know if we have an AC
Right,
machine.
there's
I
an
don't
air
believe we do.
Yeah, and I think the other one was for
Well, I mean, if
tires.
it's under,
Was mounting tires,
Well,
I don't
not
think it's
AC.
mounting equipment.
yeah, but I mean, if
One
it's
of
a
them
new
was
car and it's probably still under warranty, how
You
come
know
out?
what, they weren't, it was the old one.
One of the Dodgers, I think those have got,
no. Was it the Dodge?
yeah, there were Dodgers sitting down there. I think those have got the 100,000-mile warranty on some.
Right, but we still gotta change the oil.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they're down at
Was it
below,
tires?
It
you
was
know,
tires, and I don't think they have a unit to change the tires over, for the small tires.
One was
I
AC
don't think they have it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
for 103. One was one of the Crown Victorias
yeah, the Crown
for
Vickers.
a battery check and advise, and they didn't charge us for the battery, so the battery was internally failed. And then the other one was the Explorer for a brake squeak in the back.
Something like that going on down that way.
Let's see.
Those are the 3 items on there. And I know they don't have an AC machine down there, so,
I understand that.
yeah, that's gotta be something.
It just seems like we keep getting excuses why you can't take it that way, and you're still going that way. You know, I don't like,
Mhm.
I don't like playing the game.
Mhm.
That's all it is.
Alright, I'll take that one, how about that one? Can you sign this one yet?
I
Alright,
don't
good.
know.
Okay, good.
Which one you giving me?
One's not signed. Here, we get 5 on it. And then I'll send them back to me. 'Cause now I got 2
You got empty folders.
I got empty folders, but I get signatures.
So I don't have to
call for a signature.
So I don't have to call him for signature.
Right.
And that's empty.
Oh, like last week?
Oh, yeah.
Like last week, come in and sign.
Right. Now I got signatures on everything. Did you wanna bring that up?
Here you go.
There's the.
It's not gonna be ready for September 1st.
I understand.
Okay.
But it says to give an explanation.
Yeah, where's the explanation?
Yeah, where's the explanation? That's why I didn't sign
Well, I know
it.
Lauren was out sick last Wednesday, that's why she didn't get it done. Lauren was supposed to be here on Wednesday, so she wasn't here to get it done, and Wendy is on vacation at the end of this week. So, Avatar was not available to finish the MS1, which is why she wasn't here Wednesday to finish the MS1, because she was sick.
Why didn't they put that?
Put due to illness, that's the only reason why I'm questioning.
No, Wendy had talked to me and said that she was gonna do it because Lauren was out sick, because she's going on vacation at the end of the week. And it'll probably be done shortly after anyway, but,
So are you gonna call us in to sign it, or?
no, I'd have you sign it now. I'd ask that you sign the extension now, it's due September
No,
1st.
not the MS1.
There's no place for signing.
No.
Oh, okay.
I understand that.
Okay, well, I
I'm
didn't see
asking-
the form, I didn't know what he was
No,
talking
no,
about.
no, 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 the MS1 itself we have to sign.
Yeah, when it's ready.
When it's ready.
Right, so if it's gonna be ready, are you
It may be
calling us?
ready at the 10th meeting though, but if it's ready before then, I can certainly call yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to sign this one?
Sure.
Okay, so, the manifest has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? No vote?
Yes.
Yes and a no vote, or what was that? Was that
it a yes
a,
vote on the manifest?
Yes.
There we go.
You got enough on it?
I'm feeling a fog for the
he said yes or, what did you say, yes or you were no? And he said yes, and I'm like, heck was that?
Or maybe.
Wow. Ken, did you get that?
I think so.
Which was that?
It sounds more like Abbott and Costello who's on
She
first.
just has a, can she
I
ask,
just watched that for the first time this week.
Never seen that?
Ricky,
Never seen it.
she has a question on the
Yes.
first part.
So the award bid with King Kelly, do you see?
I voted no.
You voted no.
Correct. And the reason I voted no is because the fact of I would want to see more than just one quote. I know that he extended it out to 3, or 4 actually, I know that, but I myself, and there wasn't much description in the box. It was just, we're gonna put a door in. Well, what door we're putting in there, and we've gone down a bad door road before, so I kind of, that's why I voted no. Not the fact that it doesn't need to be replaced, it does need to be replaced, but I just wanted to see. No, and that's fine, but
And
I
I
just wanted to explain why I did vote no.
She wanna make sure she got it right.
Right. Again, is because of the fact that, again, I want to see more than one number.
Alright, so I'm gonna,
We'll get a door.
my turn.
No.
All in favor?
All right, we'll move on to the administrator's report.
No. Oh,
You get hit hard tonight.
wow.
What was in that drink?
Right.
Let's do the one that's not building related.
Yep.
Okay, that's the first one. With a different seal, I see that now. I don't have much to offer other than on the tax deeded property for auction, the St. Jeans are gonna come in on the 10th, and at that point, I think we need to have some time and discuss with them. He's working on market value. I'm going to prepare an abutters list for each of the properties,
Right.
which Wendy showed me how to do through the tax system, so I could do that. And we're gonna have to decide if you want to, how you wanna handle it. We talked about being present, we talked about some other things, so I think we should give them some time at the beginning of the 10th. Now, we do have non-public at the 10th. We've already invited some taxpayers
6:15.
back, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have 2, so let's start at 6.
Okay.
And so he could come in at 6:30. But I would also offer, there's a gentleman that's going to be on the Conservation Commission that wanted to come in on the 10th too,
Okay.
as an appointment. So it'll be close, but I think we need to really spend some time with him to understand the process. We're starting to field questions as to where they can find a list, what's actually gonna be, and things like that, and I just said you had to be patient, cause we weren't quite there yet. So I really need to think we need to give them some time. Hazard mitigation, I don't know what to do other than drive to Manchester. I can't get an answer I can't, I don't know, but I'm really, really getting nervous that we are gonna be past the grant and we don't have money to pay for it. Cause it's $6,000 that we'd have to come up with. And we've been asking and asking and asking, and that's what I would defer my argument being. I've even gone to the director and I can't get an answer. So, not for not trying. Mike's kept me somewhat in the loop on the master plan update committee. Jan can probably help more if anybody wanted to know. It appears that they've taken sections and broken up the committee into some individual subcommittees that are gonna go off and meet, and then they're gonna come back together and meet once a month.
Right.
Okay, that's what I got out of it.
Yep.
The ACO position, Sean still got it advertised, we still have none.
Okay.
Harassment, Beth and I have not had a chance to finish it all together. We do have CIP starting tomorrow morning, so there's been some, taking up some time there between Beth and I, we haven't had a chance to, but, we will get to that personnel policy. I'm gonna skip 11 for a minute. I got an email from the clerk asking to ask you guys, it says, what is your work schedule for 9/11, but I think I know what she meant. When does she want you for the town meeting? Not what you're working.
I'll be there during the day, in the morning.
Okay, it's 7 to 7.
I'll be there.
And how long can you stay?
I can be there from 7 to 3.
Jan?
I can do 7 to 7 if you need me.
Well, 3 people have to sign the box at the end of the night, and I
I
think
can come
the
back- I can
only,
come back and
and I think
sign
the
it.
only rule we have is we have to have one person there at all times.
Yep.
So, Jan's got us covered in that respect, but at the same time,
I should check and see if she has me down for a book, because I think that's what she did the last
okay, cause
time.
Maureen, if she gets the volunteers, then she doesn't pay out, so,
Right.
anybody else wanna dive in with there?
Yeah, I'll be there. I may have to leave for 2 or 3 hours after lunch, but then I'll come back and stay till the end.
Just remember we need 3 signatures at the end on the boxes.
Yeah, I'll stay to the end anyway.
I'll be there at the end.
Less 2 hours.
Yeah, I gotta work, but I'll try and get there at least for the signatures, maybe the last hour.
Okay, so you can come back with signatures?
Definitely.
So you're gonna come after work?
I'll try and get there after work, yeah.
Which
After
is
quick
6?
6, yeah.
So if need be, I'll come back for the signatures.
John?
What do you need?
Well, no, it's pretty well,
Sounds like
I'm sorry, it's
7 to
pretty
7.
well, I mean,
7 to
Jack's
7.
7 to 3,
Yeah.
Jan's 7 to 7, Sherry's gonna be there, with the exception of a couple hours
I
during the
said
day.
7 to 7, but I'll be there till the closing. You know what I
Right,
said.
no,
Yeah.
till
right.
Yeah.
8, 9 o'clock
Um,
sometimes.
Ricky's gonna get there after work till 7, but
Mhm.
till closing for signatures.
3.
So John will do the,
Yay.
John will take over for Jack,
Yeah.
so you'll do 3 to 7?
Is that-
Okay,
Nice of him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Nice of Joe, thank you.
I do have, you guys are welcome to meet without me, but, looking at the calendar, you're gonna start back Monday, September 10th. I'm not here the night of the 24th, cause I'm gonna be out of town. I'm attending the ICMA conference, which is in Baltimore. I leave Sunday and come back Wednesday night. So you're welcome to meet without me, or you can hold it off. I just need to let Beth know what you want to do. Because if you look at the calendar, share it with you. So you right now would meet 10, 17. Then you would meet 24 if you were going to meet.
Weekly.
October 1st you'd meet, and then the 8th you've already agreed not to meet, and then you're doing 15, 22, 29 of October, and then all of November, all of December.
Board wishes?
We aren't gonna have CIP ready, which kind of hinges on the budget part too. I wanna see what CIP does, but it's entirely up to you guys.
Board decision? Yes, no?
You can skip the 24th, I don't see. You have anything really that pressing?
The only reason I'm asking is because I try to fill in the dates.
Yeah.
So as people call for appointments, I don't wanna give somebody and then have to recall everybody.
Right.
I'm right now filling up the 10th and the 17th, left the 24th blank, because I wanted to ask the question. And it would be 2 in a row, then you'd have one off, one off, and then 15, 20, from the 15th on of October, you're every Monday night. With the exception of, you're gonna have to decide what you're gonna do Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, because those are Mondays.
Well, I can tell you one thing.
I just thought I'd let you know.
I can tell you one thing. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Okay, so what did we say you had? 9, 10, 9, 17.
So this was my thought. I know you can survive without me. Most people can. So the 3rd is a vacation. The 3rd is a holiday.
Third what?
Of September.
Yeah.
Is a Monday.
Oh.
Holiday.
The 10th we would meet. The 17th we would meet. 24th I'm not available. So if you skip the 24th, then you'd meet on the 1st, and you've already agreed a while back when I asked about you would not meet Columbus Day, which is the 8th. But then you still got the 15, 22, 29 of October.
15th, and what was after the 15th?
22, 29 of October.
Okay.
Because Mary's waiting to post the calendar too.
I don't think it's a big
I don't
deal.
think it's
No, I mean,
cripple us.
no.
Missing 1 week with it.
I don't think so. But
No.
again, it's for the board to decide.
I'm
Guess
fine
maybe.
with it.
I'm all right with missing it, I guess.
All right.
Unless something comes up in the meantime that's.
Well, what
Yeah.
may come up too is, which I'll have, like at the end, is just discuss non-publicly with you.
Yep.
I'd like a non-public at the end that you may have another meeting in between that we'd have to do anyway.
Yes.
So,
Right. Okay.
so
Okay.
okay. Yeah, so it's a not.
That's a no. Yeah.
Okay, so then let's move on to, and then you've picked up my pattern. This is my last weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, we picked the
And
pattern.
then you,
I've got you on my phone every noon day at noon. She's off. Okay, good. Don't call her.
No, not every
Don't
day
call
at
it.
noon.
every day at noon?
Well, no, that's
Oh,
my reminder goes off that you're not in the
Oh,
office.
okay.
Yeah,
Every
don't call
day
it.
at noon,
Okay, good.
oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Naomi, I still don't have a policy binder.
You don't?
Neither do I.
Jack
You
doesn't.
don't
Neither
either?
do I.
All right, I'll get
So-
married then.
You got policy binder?
Yeah.
Here, there you go.
I
got
know,
stuff.
but I
don't know.
can't remember. I'd have
I don't-
to.
I
I
mean,
just have to look at the tabs
You,
of
you
yours.
gave me John's.
Yeah,
And
I
I
don't
pulled
have-
I pulled tabs out. So like all the planning board stuff I pulled out, or the zoning, I pulled them out. I have them. I just pulled them out of this one so I can put
I
more
gave you
junk in.
John who?
John Lawton.
Watkins.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was supposed to
I
get,
was like, John's sitting there.
I was supposed to get
John.
Jim's, but he never turned it in.
No,
Right.
that was
I
that was
can't
Lawton's,
see it.
and she just slid the
Oh,
thing out.
no,
and put
I
it
have
in.
mine's like
So,
this,
Sherry,
a small one.
Oh, it works pretty good.
Jack, John.
Maybe a moot point.
Oh, hush. No. Jan, stop.
Yeah, it could be, yes.
Oh, you are awful. No,
I said I'll
it's
sit-
not
I'll
going
sit
to.
out in the cheap seats in front corner.
Yeah. Government buildings, we haven't, I did reach out to more contractors, but it was only last Thursday, so I gave them till the 10th.
For the
Roof.
okay.
The Walker Roofing, I'm just waiting to hear their schedule for me,
Mhm.
as far as the bell tower.
Yeah.
And that will include some of the rot you remember at the town hall, plus the Gordon Brown buildings.
Building, yeah. And
So that all comes together. The gazebo, I did type a letter, send it to the Historical Society, but you all agreed to hold off till October 1st anyway.
Yeah.
I don't have anything more on the security camera project. I just want to give you a little heads up on that. What we did is we had the IT gentleman who was very familiar with the cameras, because he does a lot of the retrieval. We had him actually look at the RFP, because the gentleman that we originally talked about to develop the RFP wanted to bid on it too, so we couldn't do that. So I shipped the 3 quotes that you got off to the gentleman that developed the RFP for us. Unfortunately, I got his note back today when I sent him a reminder that I needed it today, that he was on vacation till tomorrow. So I don't have, that's why we couldn't do that, because I wasn't gonna, I was waiting for his input. So, and I want to tell you too that Homeland Security sent me a grant application. There is money, and it's not a specific, it's kind of like there's money certain times a year, year round. My question's going to be, one of the questions is, can it be after the fact? Sometimes you can do that. But it also, if it can't be after the fact, I did explain in my email that we were looking for something here and it can be used for here. So, whether it can be after the fact or maybe you could do both, I don't know. But there is grant money. I did get a 26-page handbook to look at. And then I got several things I have to download to fill out. So, you know, I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm not a grant writer, but I'm willing to give it a shot and see where it goes. But it's a year-round thing through the Homeland Security.
Yeah, it's revolving.
Yeah, it's not like there's a.
I mean, we've got the money set aside to do the cameras. Anyway,
We've got some of that money.
Some of it
The
over
bids
at
came in higher than the other bids, so.
But, you know, nothing else. If they can't do it afterwards, maybe we can get the grant to do this building.
Right, that's what I figured, if you can do one or the other.
Building and,
So
maybe
where?
link it to the town hall across the way.
All right. So maybe I missed it. Where are our 3 bids right now?
For the cameras?
Mm-hmm.
Over at the gentleman that did the RFP.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I scanned them, I have them here.
Mm-hmm.
But I scanned them and sent them over for review.
Yep.
And then I reminded him today that I needed them.
Mm-hmm.
And it came back, the notification that I'm not at the office.
Okay.
Be back on Tuesday.
All right.
Doesn't do me any good.
All right. I'm just gonna individually put it out there. I'm not very fond of this back and forth. We've done this twice now on the cameras. It's one thing to put an RFP out and ask about it. It's another thing to have it quoted, and then we turn around and review it and maybe change it again.
I don't think you're gonna change it.
To me, if I was one of the vendors and I get a thing back saying, well, we changed it again, I'd be like, yep, right in the circle file.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'm not discrediting the process. I don't want to change it. Once we put it out for a bid and we get a bid back, that should be the end of the story, as far as I'm concerned. And that's.
Well, I guess it is the end. Well, let me just. So we get three before.
Mm-hmm.
None of those 3 bid the second time.
Right.
So we got 3 now.
Probably because we changed it.
Well, one of them we selected, and then he didn't. He got tossed out.
We dragged our feet.
No, well, he got the bid, and then all of a sudden
And then
somebody
we
else
dragged our feet.
Somebody else dragged their feet
No, I
and
think-
changed it.
The town of Weare dragged their feet after that one, regardless of who it was.
But-
dragged their feet. So that's
But
why.
I think it's smart that they're gonna send the bids to make sure, because this guy's more knowledgeable than any of us here, is now looking at them to make sure that we're getting apples to apples. We're not denying him, we're not asking him to rebid them, he's just looking to make sure that we're getting,
And I don't think I've announced any numbers.
we haven't announced anything.
We may not, but what I'm thinking is if we change it and send it back to say, hey, you know, our guy, whatever it may be, our guy said, oh, well, we should not use this stuff, and they go, really? And then we're right in the back where we got nothing again.
Yeah, but we were specific this time around.
Yeah.
And
very
that-
specific.
And that's fine.
We wanna
If
make
he's
sure.
reviewing it for a cost analysis of what we bid, then that's
We wanna
fine.
make sure that they're bidding according to what we asked for.
That's fine too. But
That's
if
what
there's
the-
gonna be
that's what
if there's
we
gonna be a thing that says, oh well, you guys shouldn't have used this,
I don't think.
and but that's where we ended up last time, and here we are almost a year later trying to still put cameras in the same building.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see that happen again, personally. You know, if we're gonna, and I understand that there's it's hard because you try and get somebody that's in the field and knowledgeable to write the RFP, and then they can't bid on it. I get that, and everybody has a little bit of a different way of doing it. But I guess we gotta be a little more diligent on once we put it out there that it's solid and.
Right.
I think this time was way more solid than the other time.
Okay, and I'll definitely agree to that.
And you know what I mean. The quote went out, and then you could come look at what we had. There
Right.
wasn't any questions. There wasn't any input.
Okay.
Like I think the last time we threw something out there, and then midstream, somebody said, "Well, you know, maybe you should try this."
Right, and that was to me that was a town of Weare as a whole's blunder, and I don't blame the contractor that we awarded the
For
bid
not bidding.
for not bidding back. No, I don't blame them one
Absolutely.
bit.
No,
So,
well, yeah, and it is, it's our fault, because we should have put a stop to it a lot sooner.
right, but so like I said, and if that was if we need to change our procedure on that, that's what we need to do on how we do that. I don't know how to get somebody that's well rounded in all the aspects of the town stuff that we do to write these RFPs for us. But again, I hate to see the it come in and go, well, we didn't change it and back out it goes. I don't want to see that.
Well, I
happen
can
again.
tell you, looking at them, looks foreign to me, but one of them offered 3 options.
Mhm.
One, the first option was what we voted on, what we put the RFP out for. The second one was to enhance the cameras or enhance the, I want to say like a megapixel for the quality of it, you know, the review.
And that's fine if they want to quote above and
And
beyond
then
what
a
we did.
third one, there was a third option was even better than the other two, which, you know what I mean? I get that too, but the first option said, you know, this is the quote as requested.
And that's fine. I mean, if they want to put the time, effort forward to quote us
But
more and better,
it was fairly thick.
Yep.
And I didn't understand any of the
And that's fine. Like I
attachments.
said, if they want to go above and beyond, that's fine. I got no problem with that. It's just, you know, when we put something solid together, I mean, it's got to be solid before we put it out. So.
So the safety complex roof, I'm gonna see if anybody else will come back with a number. I did look at your other number the other day.
Oh, the one that we got?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then lastly, the food pantry, I think you guys all know. The food pantry, there's been notification given.
Is there a place for them now yet?
Well, they're throwing in the towel October 20th.
They're just out, they're not doing it.
They're not gonna do it. So I've reached out to our neighbors to see what they do. And I actually went and looked at what Henniker did. And Henniker has a very nice, they're in the basement of the Grange, very nice operation. She's very helpful. You know, New Boston does it through the little church there in New Boston. Goffstown does it through the church. The office is really the St. Matthews, but they do the Goffstown Network, which the Goffstown Network feeds Dunbarton, Goffstown, and New Boston. Everybody has a little tweak about it, but they're all willing to help us at least get started. There's a lot of avenues that I learned. You know, there's, you know, federal food out there. There's food bank food. There's certain things that I honestly didn't know existed.
Well, they have the federal food come now, because they have a truck about once a month,
Okay.
right?
It goes
That
to
comes
the
up in
town
front of the
hall.
town hall.
Yeah, they
And
used to go
that's
down
like
to
the
the-
big
they
blocks
used to
of
go down to the-
cheese and cereal.
Part of that's
and-
through WIC too. They do that down at
I was
the
just say
county.
WIC uses a town hall, but I don't know.
And they used
Yeah,
to go
no, I
down to
think that- no,
Goffstown
that
too.
was
They have a
for-
truck that shows up
Okay.
in Goffstown.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot. I don't have any answers yet, but at the same time, you know, I think the main part's going to be looking for some volunteers. Henniker has volunteers, largely the seniors, and what they do is an hour on Mondays. They do 11 to 12 on Mondays, and then they do 5:30 to 6:30 on Wednesday nights. And they have enough seniors that they volunteer once every 6 weeks.
Oh, that's good.
You know, they come in and it's very well put together. Somebody wrote a computer program that's got a very good database done with Access.
Where do they do it?
In the bottom of the Grange.
Okay.
And downstairs, not handicap accessible. They do deliver for those that can't get out. Very, very interesting, very, very good program that she's a wealth of information. She's done it for years. Ready to throw in the towel, and then really just spearheaded it and found volunteers. So,
And there's no way we can have, what's her name? She won't, even if we found a spot for her, she's not interested.
No, they're all, they said they had a 3-hour meeting and they
Yeah.
decided it was as a organization
Yeah.
they were done.
Okay.
yeah, I've not reached out again. So in looking at what was handled in Henniker, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking that if we cleaned out the basement, the carpeted
what I-
basement,
Right.
I think there's area there.
For
Because if you go downstairs right now, everybody just has anything that doesn't work goes down there
fax machines
instead of
and
finding its way to the
desks.
transfer station. So I think backing up a 10-wheeler and unloading, just like you do spring cleaning at your house. Obviously inventory it so that you know where it went. But at the same time, that's a bigger area down there. You know, and they were.
You're talking
And it has-
this end
If it's over a $300 value, we have
But
to.
it has
that's the way it's
handicap access.
It has handicap access, but there's also a separate access over
Of
there.
the police?
Yeah, which they go in the back side of the Grange. They have their own access down the stairs. It's probably about 8 to 10 stairs down there. And then it's all set up with just some racks and shelves, and somebody made, laminated some items, you know, like, she had one item was 2 for 1, you know what I mean? And she had, some cards, so that when you come through the door, if you're 1 or 2 households, you get 18 items. If there's 3 or 4, you had 20-something items. And she got those little red, plastic baskets that have wheels, and they go around, and it's really just a little, and then at the end, they come through the door, they give their name, and somebody
Goes in the
checked them
system.
into the computer, and they went around and did their own shopping for whatever they're gonna do for the week. They go weekly. They serve 50 people a week. She served 53 last week, between the 2 hours that they're open. So it's very, very well organized, well
Very
thought
busy
out.
by the sounds of it.
Very, for a small community. You know what I mean? I think there needs to be some more digging done. I don't know how it works, and I've learned a lot, because I never knew how it worked. But, you know, she's not willing to come over and run it, but she'd come over, at least get started, if we could find a willing, and like she said, it's once every 6
It's
weeks.
once every 6 weeks, yeah.
You know, she's got
You
teams.
get enough people.
Yeah, and then the people come in honestly with their bags, and they go around, or if they don't have a bag, they can get a bag at the end. They have their little cart, and it's the little red, almost the ones you can carry with a handle, but they also have the handle and wheels, and you can just drag it. It's really just, this is not even this big, I don't think.
So they go in weekly. They can go in once a week
They can go in
and get
once a week.
groceries.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep, and when I tried to get there for 10:30 this morning so I could see it without anybody, and then I didn't get out of there until I went to leave, and there was a line up the door, so I let them all come in, because it's just one stairway. And the girl talked to me for a while, and people just came in, hi, how you doing, gave their name, and they go about their business. You know, and they get a lot of fresh vegetables from farmers. So they're welcome to use that. It was just very, very well laid out, very, very, and I'm not saying ours is, and I've never been down there, but it was just an eye-opener to see the small amount of space. And the other thing they do is there's a lot of kids look for community service, so the kids lug the, when the shipment comes, they have the kids bring the boxes downstairs.
Put on the shelves.
And then, they put them down, and the people stock the shelves that are there. They come in half an hour early, or sometime they'll do that, and she's got a couple of groups that, one lady and her son do all the inventory. Yeah, it's good for them, and she feels like she can help. So, I think there's some more avenues to do some more research, but at the same time, you know what I mean, I never knew how it worked, and there's there's people willing. I think you just have to,
maybe
you know, in a couple hours a week, you know, that's really all they do it up there. It's an hour and an hour.
Go to the coffee hour over at the library. Maybe we could get some
of those
volunteers
people.
from there.
Well, the other thing is, I would ask Mike, he reaches 1,200 homes. And the other reason, if you bring it here, and you get some people to do it, when we're here, no one needs a key.
Right.
No one's left by themselves.
Right.
You know, I think
Do Wednesday nights or whatever.
we could do
Wednesday
Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30. We close at 7.
Right.
And you could pick another day, Monday during the day. You could almost
Right.
do the same time.
Yeah.
Very well. I took one of her applications. It was very well set up.
Good.
But it took her a long time to get to that.
Oh,
She
absolutely.
was ready to walk away too.
Yeah.
Until she put out the call that, you know, it's gonna
Need help.
close
Need
where
more
we need help. But yeah, I mean, and I think I was gonna use Mike anyway, because I think he puts out that newsletter,
Right.
and you know, that reaches so many homes right now, and that's all we did to get the master plan group,
Right.
and that all the 12 people stepped up.
Good
So.
committee.
So it's gonna be a work, but I'll keep you, I mean, I'm still looking, I'm still trying to figure things out and trying to get some people that'll step up. But I
think
also
the
need to
use here
talk,
would be
I also
fine.
need to talk to, you know, and there's space downstairs that can be consolidated, you know.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of the stuff down there can just disappear.
Yeah, we've got Halloween costumes that we haven't had a Halloween party with Parks and Rec for a while, but it's still,
Yeah.
there's a box of stuff down there, and I wouldn't get rid of it without asking them first.
Right.
Because it got
But-
put there by somebody.
Come get it or it's gone.
So,
Long as you
that's
like
gonna be a work, but I think, I mean, I think we have an obligation, you know what the other alternative is,
Right.
is to write vouchers.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
just knowing the working of it all.
Mhm.
So, that's all I had, other than I would like to have non-public at the end.
Is there on, item number 8 on your government building list?
Oh.
Can we,
Haven't done that.
what I'm thinking is a propane conversion for that. Like you said, the boiler's old, having oil downstairs really doesn't appease my mind. Maybe a propane tank outside the building type thing, or buried in the yard by the apple tree, would be more.
We have one, don't we have propane out around the corner here somewhere? I thought we had 2 propanes here, no?
Are the 250s?
Yeah, the
Populas?
220s.
Yeah.
Aren't they for the,
I don't know.
I don't even know what they are for. I say the generator, but I don't know.
Might be.
You can contact Irving, he's our supplier, they do installations.
Yeah, but I gotta, this,
And just see what the rough
no, I usually send out a quote
quote.
for Irving's been our contractor, but I do look for a locked-in price for the budget.
But we actually have a boiler downstairs.
We
which
do, we
is-
have an
Oil
oil
boiler.
boiler, yeah.
Well, but
Yeah.
to convert it to gas.
But what I'm thinking is the boiler's got age to it, and switching to propane instead of oil, I mean, that tank out under the ground, who knows?
How old's the boiler, do you know, nobody knows?
25 plus, right?
I'd have to,
Have to go look at the boiler, it'll have a date
I'm
on it.
almost certain it was, I don't remember any of that happening while I was here.
Right. So,
I've been here for 23.
but my thought process is maybe get some quotes together for budget season to replace the whole
Yeah,
system.
the other
'Cause it's
thing
probably
I
gonna be
was-
10 grand.
The other thing I'm working on getting together is now CIP has started, but, the server here
Yeah, yes.
is 11 years old. And Beth's got a module that is not gonna be, with her software, is not gonna be compatible with what we have. So I think it's time, that we look at something. It's 11 years old, but I think it's running off 7 Windows or something. So
But that's not gonna be
Windows 7.
supported in 2 more years.
That's
It's
what-
not-
that's
18
exactly-
months, you're not gonna have any support.
That's exactly what they
For
said.
Windows
Yeah.
7, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of one of the other things in looking at CIP, trying to get the numbers together because CIP's meeting, they're starting Tuesday, but they've got I don't know, I don't remember the schedule, it's on the door out there. But you know what I mean, we should put together that, maybe the roof, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was specific
Well, that's what I'm
projects.
thinking. I mean, there's specific items out there that we need to think about, especially to either add to the government building maintenance fund or, standalone warrants like we did for the town hall. But I think that there's things out there that, especially the roof for the safety complex.
Mhm.
I mean, we all saw that number. To me, that's a standalone number, if you ask
Did you
me.
s-
Depending, I mean, even if it's metal or shingles,
Yeah.
it's still a ballpark, and it's
Yep.
still something I think should be a standalone. That's my only
Because that's project specific.
right. And,
Right.
and the other thing is too is, I mean, I don't think so much the propane conversion here would be I mean, it's project specific, but on the flip side of it too is the dollar amount I don't think would be anywhere near what that roof is. I'm thinking 10,000 ish. To run new gas line, and
The CIP limit is 15,000.
so I don't think we'd hit that with a tank and the install.
Right.
And,
So that's
and
probably
boiler.
not a CIP item.
Right, but the roof definitely is, so, and that was one thing I wanted to mention too, is that was all I had, just that on yours.
Okay.
Start thinking about warrant articles, dollar signs, and, any ideas you guys are gonna have for anything we go forward with. I know it's a little early, but on the other side of it too, it's gonna be here before we know it, just like the food pantry, so I don't want those to slip away from us, in the time, but, I know that obviously one warrant article that we need to have a big discussion on is what we talked about tonight, is the road reconstruction. That fund is just not,
Enough.
it's not enough, it's not even close, it's not even within the ballpark, I mean, it's out in, it's not even the parking lot of the ballpark.
Right.
And my personal gut feeling is that a bond of anything even more than $2 million is gonna be too much. I don't think it's gonna be supported by the taxpayers. You know, I know that, again, you know, it was mentioned that taxes went up $300 this year on that individual's house, you know.
But
again,
we're all in it together.
well, I understand that, we're all in this together, and, you know, that the tax rate, that was a group number that went up $300, that includes the schools and us, very little us, but, mostly the schools, and, you know, I think, but I honestly, I think a pliable number, town contribution side, I mean, right now is only 200,000, that's not even close, I think we need to double that contribution, at least.
500,000.
Yeah, at least, if not 500,000, and really give, to me, a pliable number to put out there, and it needs to go up every year.
Yeah.
You know, we've done our due diligence on the bridge projects, putting that 100K out, trying to put our 20% in the bank.
Yep.
You know, I mean, a lot of these people that were here tonight, I can't agree more with them.
I know.
You know, I couldn't
And
agree
they're
more
not
with
the
them.
only ones, that's,
Right,
that's the problem.
That's the
I mean,
problem.
The only,
all
the
these-
only road complaining, but.
Yes.
Currently.
You
know,
know, once
I mean,
the others,
but
you're
then
gonna have
again,
them here too.
I have had emails from Pine Hill, you know, same situation, same song, different dance. I mean, it's just, it's, you know, the roads are deplorable.
Yeah, I mean, you go
I
up
think
on
the
Waterford Terrace, and I'm
concentration-
surprised that nobody's
Oh.
complained up there.
I can't
We don't
believe
get
that.
complaints from up
There's-
there, and I'm
there's no
surprised.
ti-
Yeah.
There's no
Where is it?
pavement up there.
Waterford Terrace up off
Nothing.
Maplewood.
Up off of,
yes.
Orchard Path.
Orchard.
Yeah, that's not.
I mean,
Path, you're right.
those are,
Yeah.
I gotta think
those are,
about it.
I mean, those houses,
Yeah.
Pretty decent size.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're big, some of them are close to mansions, and I mean, we haven't had one complaint, but I went up on that road, and I'm going, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
that's a
bad.
town maintained road.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but these are the roads that were put in back in the 80s and 70s, up until probably the 90s, and,
Right.
With really limited,
nobody checked them.
yeah.
Right, exactly, and it's coming down to now where all of them are hitting and we need to do something,
Yeah.
but then too, I don't think that you can concentrate, I think for so many years now, the concentration has been to not have the tax rate go up, to stay level, and you can't do that if you have things that have to be fixed and done,
Right.
because it's only gonna be at some point chaos.
Right, and that's what you know. That's what I'm saying is I think that you know that unfortunately I don't think that those bonds are going to line up. You know,
No.
I mentioned that tonight. I wish they would. You know, if it was a 5-year out bond, I might try and stick it out and say let's just try and shim some of the bad spots like it was mentioned and hold out and keep increasing that road reconstruction line regardless.
Right.
But hold out for the big ticket item.
The one thing in maybe in favor, the Weare School District bond, this one over here,
The middle
Is that
school.
expiring?
the middle
That must
school
be
should be
coming.
coming up,
They just refinanced though.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's 10 years, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
It should be.
I thought we borrowed for 20 years at
Yeah.
$18 million.
Yeah, I thought that's.
I don't know, I don't.
Well, you did in the beginning.
Right, and that was done
And then
in
10 years was paid off.
It's a 20, yeah.
I think you've been 10 years now
Mm.
Yes.
because.
But it was refinanced in the
graduated.
10th year. I do know that.
Maybe
Well,
it's
regardless, I mean, we're
But,
not.
and you may be coming at the same timeline as the
That's the
the
DPW
other,
bridge.
yeah, the DPW bridge. So you may have some.
Right. But again, I still
Leeway
think
there.
even 8 to 10 years is too far out for
Yeah.
Well, I
for a
do too.
bond.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying.
But again, I think that obviously the 480 isn't and to me 200 grand. I mean, I say this, but 200,000 for what we're trying to accomplish
Is
is
nothing.
peanuts.
Well, it costs $200,000, roughly $200,000 a mile.
Right. Right there. I mean, it's right. Yeah.
So I mean, to do
600.
Bogue Road, you're looking at close to $400,000. It's over
Well,
6,000 feet.
It sounded like you said 233 for 6,500 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Total.
that's,
Yeah, I did.
no, that was just to do part of it. That wasn't to do the whole thing.
I thought it
think
was
that
to
was
do the whole thing.
I-
233.
I think you better add the numbers again, cause he was
Yeah.
looking at grinding and then plus the 200,000
He
on
had
top of that.
1830
He said
and 192.
Yeah,
He
he
said
said
30,
he said
1,800,
18,000.
30, and then the rest of, then the added number. Add those three out.
192.
180. He said 182 for 1 inch for 3 inch thick, or 4 inch thick.
That's
3
for an
inch.
inch. That price was
182.
per inch.
No,
47,000 was per inch.
47
And
per
he said
inch.
3 times that.
It's
It's
about,
182.
he came up with figures, it's about $200,000 to do
A
a
mile.
mile.
Right.
So you're looking at
33.
6,000 plus feet.
6,500 feet for
So
Bow Road.
So
6480.
you're gonna be up close to 300 and change.
Right.
By the time you
And
get,
if we- if we
that's not
plan
counting
it-
culverts.
Right,
I mean, you're not gonna pave that, you gotta,
right.
Guardrails up there.
and guardrail.
Plus
So
you
you're
got-
looking at over,
Rip wrap in the ditches. And
well, I'm just saying, just the
I mean,
road
plus-
part, without doing the ditches. I mean,
Plus up
but
there, there's no base, there's gotta be a lot
Well,
of
that's just
fill
the-
brought in.
You're gonna do that road right, is what we did on Mountain School Road when Boyd was road agent. We dug 3 feet out and put 3 feet of gravel.
Well, they did,
in.
when they did Colby Road. And they did Colby Road going across, and they took the hump out of it and went down.
So, I think that it's gonna be, you know, that we as a board, you know, individually, need to think of a viable number that we need to put on that road reconstruction line.
Right.
We know what the state's gonna give us, that's 280.
Right.
That's the number.
It's a ballpark.
That's a ballpark.
Ballpark,
They could give us less
within
depending on
10,000 or
the-
whatever, but that's a number that, you know, basically is a given, but we need to really, you know, I think we really need to step up our side of it, you know.
Right, and we have to educate too.
And I think, you know, again, I'm pretty sure, you know, like I said, the media outlets and the way news travels has
Right.
changed in 10 years. You know, I think that, you know, if 40 tell 4, then 160 know, and next thing you know, the whole town knows. So, of course, at that point, who knows what town, you know, the last person to find out is gonna know. I mean,
Right.
for all we know, we're gonna drop a bomb on the
Right.
road, I don't know.
Yeah, and if
But-
Benji comes up with that information that
But yeah.
makes us more aware too of,
Yep.
you know, how many class.
And I know that he's busy keeping his guys busy dealing
I
with guys that are
understand.
taking
Yeah.
off on vacation.
Oh, I
like that.
appreciate the
Yeah.
fact that
Plus,
he's done
it's
the
2
survey,
people
but.
down.
Yes.
That's
I mean,
another
I'd
thing
even
that we
come
need
down
to
and
do,
help.
Russ, is
He's down 2
Get it-
people
get
down,
an increase
And
in pay
winters-
this year.
and the winter's coming.
And winter's coming.
Yeah, so.
I mean, he's.
He said, I can run 1 plow truck, but I can't run 2.
Yeah,
That's what he said
that's
to me
right.
the other
I
day.
mean, the thing of it is that he's got a program that he could, I'm not going back to do that. They could plow, I mean, he's got a program that, and I've been to the school, so is he's for to do this, to do the rough estimation of what the roads are and classify them as to what needs to be done to them. And then there's a program that you can figure out what prices change, what the dollar amounts.
Right. And that,
But I mean, these roads are, like I said, the thing is that they get thrown in. It's not the same now, but they get
Right.
thrown in, and it was like you said, you came up there with a D8, leveled it off, said good enough, put the top to it. And I mean, they're lucky if they get 2 inches of asphalt on some of
Yeah.
these roads.
yeah, oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
I don't think Bog Road's got 2 inches.
Well, they get that. They get about 2
Yeah,
inches.
he
on
dropped it on the floor over there for us.
I mean, that's about all they got. But it's,
He did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
Hopefully
did.
puts it back.
Yeah.
Um,
Fill the hole in.
Can fill the hole back
But
in.
they get, I mean, these, gotta do something.
All right. Well, like I said, I just want warrant articles to be on people's minds
Yes.
before we run into the season. That's all. So,
Definitely.
that should be it under administrative report because we ran that
Yes.
right out to the end. Any correspondence, other business?
The letter you received from NHDES,
About
software, is that
Stuff,
gonna
sure.
be, yeah. Is that gonna be handled by somebody else, or are we?
We're more-
going to be, you know, are we gonna be informed of what's happening down there?
Well,
or-
that was more what that was.
Down there,
informative.
down there at,
The
400 South Start.
South
Yeah,
Park,
400.
no, they're handling that. I mean, that's
That
their-
actually got handled,
That's already
Laura
handled.
got involved long before DES.
Yeah,
Okay.
took it to that, but they've already done their enforcement. He's got, the letter
Well, I know they
reads,
had,
he's got specific things. If
So-
not,
yeah.
he's gonna end up in court.
exactly.
I mean, that's up
But
to
are we
them.
following up on whether those things
That
are
was more
being done?
That's
more
up to them to
informational.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really out of our realm as far
Okay.
as, but yeah, that email I received was more informational that
Mhm.
that action was being, you know, taken.
They've got the timeline to do this. If not, you know,
Okay.
they'll be down there.
Right. Any other correspondence, other business?
Anything on B&B Lane?
No,
Haven't heard a word from
No,
the
it'd
state.
No,
DES?
I got 2 things. I did receive an email regarding the Bolton Field playground. There was trash everywhere, and the weeds were pretty high. I forwarded that to Naomi to be forwarded to the proper authorities as far as.
I think
Parks and
Right.
Recs.
I think Karen took care of that.
Yep, and it was taken care of as far as I know, and I responded to that individual and told him that it was forwarded to the proper channels, and he thanked me and appreciated it, so. And then there was, also too, we received an informational email from the police chief. They are going to be, x-raying and checking the high-tension wires in town via helicopter. So if you see a helicopter going over the wires, that's what they're doing, they're investigating, checking, and making sure they're all good, not gonna fall down, or whatever they might do.
They do that quite frequently.
Right.
Public service does.
Yep. And then, the second annual, John Stark Boosters, Football Boosters Car Show is September 16th at John Stark. That's all I have. Anything else? Move going non-public under RSA 91A, Roman numeral 2, 3, A and C.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I'd like to also bring up something in the non-public too.
A and C related?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yep.
adjourn afterwards, as there's no other business, so.